Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Please rise. We're going to start off with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Councilmember Rye. Okay, Councilmember Foreman.
Here.
Councilmember Totino.
Present.
Supervisor Albro.
Here.
Brian, I called you first. Are you here?
Oh, I didn't hear you. I am here.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to amend the agenda to add a resolution to authorize renewal of our workers' comp policy and want a resolution to accept a monetary donation for the police department. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next up is acceptance of minutes. Number one, Town Board regular board meeting, June 5th, 2024. Present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is a public hearing, introduction of proposed local law to enact a new chapter of film and video productions. I'll make a motion to open up the public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're passing a law. Last year in the summertime, a production company came and started doing some filming, and we had no law to control it. So we have that on the agenda today to have a law to control it. Anybody wish to speak about it? Any board members?
No, I'm just glad that we're getting it done, and hopefully there'll be people filing, production companies filing to use it.
John?
Nope. Can't hear you. Okay, sorry.
Greg?
No, just thanks to Brian for taking the lead on this. Good working with him on that, and Steve, of course, the attorney, for putting the law together. I think this will be useful to still encourage, artistic productions to take place in the town, but to require certain protocols be followed, which will prevent disturbances or quality of life infringements. So I'm very much in favor.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing closed. Next up is introduction of new employees. Raise your hand if you're getting a job in the town of Fishkill. All right, we'll start with the young kids first. Line up in back of the podium. Tell us who you are and what department you're working for, and tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, I'm Demaya Elliott. I work for the Fishkill summer camp. I'm 18. I go to the University of Hartford. I'm currently a sophomore. I study criminal justice and minor in political science. I wanted to do this job because I worked with kids before, and I just like seeing them happy and putting smiles on their faces. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity for being here today.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Sarah Hansen. I work with the Fishkill Summer Camp. I currently attend SUNY Cortland as a sophomore. My major is early childhood and childhood education. And I decided to work with the camp because I've always had a passion with working with kids, and seeing them smile every day is what gives me joy in life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adam Sendelbach. I'm 18 years old. I just graduated Beacon High School last year. This year I will be attending King's College as a sophomore, where I study journalism and political science. I'm also on my college soccer team, where I play the goalkeeper. This year I will be the sports director, and I just love sports, and I want to teach all the children how to play different sports. Thank you.
And
Adam, do we recognize you as an Eagle Scout?
Yes, I am an Eagle Scout.
Thank you.
Double bonus.
Hello, my name is Kobe Kalman. I will be attending the University at Buffalo this fall, as I just graduated from John Jay High School, and I'm very much looking forward to having a great summer with all the kids at the Fishkill Fun Camp, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to work with them, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you. You can pull it down. There you go.
Hello, my name is Cameron. I am going into my freshman year at John Jay High School. In my spare time, I like to play competitive ice hockey and run track for my school. Thank you.
Very good.
My name is Jeremiah Jansen. I'm an upcoming senior at John Jay High School. I play basketball on the varsity team at John Jay, and I've been playing Fishkill hoops since I was 4, and I'm looking forward to working with the rec program. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas. Top that.
Good evening. My name is Keith Douglas. I've accepted your controller position. Thank you very much. I've had 15-plus years in municipal government. I got my MBA and my MPA from Pace University, and I got my master's in taxation from St. John's. I'm looking forward to joining your team and seeing how I can help put a better spin on it, whatever we got to do.
Thank you.
Thank
Hold on a
you.
second. Hold on a second. Any question, board members?
No, I interviewed you along with John. You were there. And, you know, we went through a lot of candidates, and I'd like to think that our position here, our open position of comptroller is a very, you know, sought-after job. It must be, because we had a lot of really great candidates. So if anyone out there is listening and you were not selected, you are all strong, but you shown yourself to be quite competent in many regards that set us at ease. So I'm very happy that you'll be a part of the team.
Thank you very much.
So congratulations and welcome. When is your start date?
The 22nd of July.
22nd?
Greg?
No, just we're very much looking forward to working with you. Unfortunate that the timing coincides with the beginning of serious budget season, but out of the frying pan into the fire, and it will be good to get that process underway, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Joe, on these items of special consideration, can you give me the actual resolution? It's just a discussion here, just for the next hour or so. All right, next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. So anything about regarding the town of Fishkill, this is your opportunity to speak. Mr. Cologne?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Eddie Cologne, and I'm here to representing the Fishkill Food Pantry, or as Mr. John Foreman calls me, the ambassador of the food pantry. Okay. Before I start, I'd like to thank Becky for participating in the Dutchess County Clerk food drive, and thank you for having us in your mind when you donated the food. Also, before I continue, I'd like to thank all the members of the Fishkill Food Pantry to be recognized for the volunteering work that they do without any hesitation, without any problem. They just take pride on serving the residents and the hungry people in this community. So as you know, I've been coming here several years, you know, representing the food pantry. So we really need you. My mother used to say, never beg. If they want to give you something, they give it to you. But today, I'm breaking my mother's rule. I am begging the residents of the town and village of Fishkill to help me out in this journey. We are really hitting bottom. Today, between the hours 2:30 to 6 o'clock, we fed 15 families, and each family consists 5, 4, and 6 persons in the family. That's a lot. That's a lot. That is a lot. And you know, when you start thinking, look at the shelves. When you start seeing the floors of the cabinets, you say, wow. And they'll look at me and say, Ed, what are we going to do? What I want to do? I says, we do a food drive. And I know I have spoken to Ozzy many times, and he says, Ed, whenever you're ready, come up. So on July 13th, which is next week, next Saturday, I'd like to ask the board an approval to have a food drive in front of the town hall where people could see it, and I have 2 drop-off points, which is here at the board for anybody within in this area here. They could come and drop the food over here, and anybody on the other side of Route 9 could come to the Fishkill pantry and drop the food in. I need help in this crusade. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother coming here. It is really bad. It's getting worse. And all these families that are coming here, they're all legit. There is nothing wrong here. Everybody that comes here is legit. I mean, it's getting bad. Yesterday, I had a 92-year-old lady. She still drives. She still drives. And we had to get her inside because it was kind of hot. And she was very happy that she's going to have food for a whole month. You know what she said? A can of chicken noodle soup is 2 meals for her. A can of chicken noodle soup, ladies and gentlemen, for a family of 2, it's a meal. Because the parents, the mother or the father, will open that can of food, a can of chicken noodle soup, and take a noodle at a time to give to the children, just like a bird feeds his birds, okay? So I'm asking to the residents, again, members of the board, the residents of Fishkill, and the village, because when we do this, we're doing it as togetherness. We're not saying the village, we're not saying Fishkill, and all the towns that are surrounding us to come and give us a hand, give us something. And if you can't deliver, if you can't bring it, I'll go pick it up. If I have to climb Mount Beacon just to get that can of chicken noodle soup, I will. So, I need your help.
Eddie, can I ask you a question, brother?
Yes, sir.
Because we're all very sensitive. We've all given our time, and I'm going to be there for you again. Do you, you guys are probably closed tomorrow on the 4th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I could bring something, but, so.
But I'll be there Friday.
Okay, all right. So you normally have it in the circle in front of the PD. Why do you want it here? Because it feels like that's more convenient for people to.
I'd rather have it in the front where people could see me, because last time a lot of people missed us because we were in the back.
Okay.
I want to be visible.
I understand.
I mean, if I could get an air balloon and put it out there, I would do. If I could climb a fire department ladder and stay up there, I would. I'm trying to get as visible as possible.
Can I make a suggestion?
Whatever you want.
I mean, we've got a big Healy car dealership across the street. Get them incorporated to make them do a collection and a drive and bring that over. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Listen, I am, as of tomorrow, I'm going around from the beginning of Beacon to East Fishkill. I'm going to be walking around, and I'm going to let the people, because this is televised, and I'm going to let the people know that I am going to be walking around. And if you see me putting something in your door, please, I beg of you, please, residents of Fishkill, please do not throw this away. Read it. I know the economy is bad. It is bad. But you know something? A can of Chef Boyardee feeds a family of 3, believe it or not. If that mother wants that kid to go to bed with something on their stomach, it would. I remember just a few minutes ago, just got a flashback. Has anybody ever heard of an air sandwich? I know you're from the Bronx, so you know what's an air sandwich. An air sandwich, when my mother back in the days, back in the 60s, I come from a family of 12. My mother was a single parent. Her job was ironing clothes. So when we used to tell my mother, we're hungry. So at that time, they used to buy the loaf of bread, and it was not Wonder Bread. It was tasty. And I could tell you, I could swear she had those slices count. So she'll take a slice of bread, spread some mayonnaise on it, cut it in half, give it to you with a glass of water, That's an egg sandwich. Okay? Because she makes sure that you eat that bread and soak it with water, and you will continue. And in the morning was cornmeal. Don't give me cornmeal now. Can't do it. That, and for lunch, it was milk and rice, soup of milk and rice.
Are you good with this?
Okay? And people say, what the heck are you talking about? Yes, that's how we survived. I was on the cheese line, and I'm not going to deny it. And if I have to stand on the cheese line for the food pantry, I would. I would.
All right, Eddie. So what we'll do is we'll put this on our eGov system, and we'll let you use the front.
Yeah. Just before I leave, just a little quote. And just think, because we all could eat steak today. We all could eat steak today. And tomorrow, we'll be standing on the cheese line. Because we never know. So if you think for a little while, and you close your eyes, and the scary part is, and this is my quote, what's really scary is not having any food to eat when you're hungry. When your 6-year-old kid tells you, Mom, I'm hungry. And you look around and you say, I have nothing. There's nothing but water. So that's when that can of noodles comes in handy. A noodle, a child, and whatever is left, the broth, the mother will divide it so they could wash it down. And she could have something for her to give her energy and to think what she's going to give her children tomorrow morning for breakfast.
All right.
My mother used to say, from one egg, we will all eat, whether we have to eat the shell. Yes, sir.
So the day of the food drive is a week from Saturday,
Yes,
July
sir.
13th. That is the same day that the Elks Club in Beacon is having a big parade in Beacon. I'm wondering if, and I don't mind reaching out to Carl Oken to see if we can piggyback and have another location in Beacon for the neighborhood food drive. Since Beacon's part of your
Yes, sir.
territory.
We serve 12 zip codes.
Yep.
The heavy hitters are Wappingers, Beacon, and us. We are heavy. The town of Fishkill, believe it or not, in your backyard, ladies and gentlemen, in your backyard, the elderly, the veterans. Okay, and now it's even worse because the school is out. Okay, and it's whatever you guys could do, hey, more power to you and help me out here. I'm here throwing myself at the mercy of the residents of Fishkill because I know Fishkill cares. If there's one town that I know, it's Fishkill. Fishkill cares.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
Joe, we'll look to do like eGov maybe Tuesday.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
No, but I'll see you there.
Thank you.
I'll be there to help
Appreciate
out.
that.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Eddie Rodriguez. Some of you know me. I own the house on 4 Magnolia Drive. So I see that you're talking about my property again, but nobody failed to want to inform us about it. Again. So your building inspector, who was there with Stephen and other town workers to try to compromise the issue with the fence. Your building inspector is a bully, okay? Never once did he have the engineers do whatever they're supposed to do to see the site issue. But instead he had to have Stephen Gobber talk for him, and he wanted to remove even more panels than we originally agreed on. when my wife said no. Like a 5-year-old spoiled brat, he threw his arms in the air and told the town employees, let's go. Waste of taxpayers' money. And I see here that you want to discuss resolution and to authorize commencement of legal proceedings over our property. We're trying to meet you halfway, so why do you want to spend more money from the taxpayers over something we're trying to resolve? When I have an email from the building department that they were going to close our shed, our pool, and our fence permit back in November of 2022. Ozzy, how many times have I come to talk to you about it? Exactly.
Can you show the respect of an answer?
No, that's fine, that's fine.
It's not fine.
It's fine, because it's being recorded and it shows what kind of person he
Does
is.
he have to talk about hungry people for you to respond to him? He's asking you a question. You're sitting on the board. Answer his question.
The privilege is for, privilege of the floor for general time items. That means the citizen can say whatever they want. It doesn't say Ozzy responds to the citizen.
Doesn't show Ozzy has common courtesy or respect.
I have a lot of common courtesy. We've given your family a lot of common courtesy.
You have.
Yes, listen, I'm not getting into it. Have your piece. Say what you want.
So you still want to do a legal proceeding, and spend taxpayers' money because your building inspector demanded what he wanted, not based off of code. We didn't just build the fence over the weekend with a few guys. We had the fence company respond to the building department and show how we were putting the fence up, and the permit was issued. We did nothing wrong. The building inspector screwed up. There is no personal accountability. None. Absolutely none. But yet, you want to hold me and my family accountable for your building inspector's mistake. Thank you, sweetie, thank you. No, it's all right. Let it out.
I agree with you 1,000%. I'm sorry.
So this is all I'm going to get.
Everybody just stares at you like you're crazy.
Steve, I'm just trying to figure out what you're looking at. What's on the TV. Thank you. Thank you.
Zero respect. Look at you all. What should we talk about that we would get a response from you? This is the most
Your building inspector
disrespectful thing I've ever
said
been involved.
nothing, but threw his arms up and told everybody, let's go. There was no compromising. None whatsoever. Bully tactic. I don't like bullies. If he doesn't know his job, he shouldn't be in that position. His job is to enforce town code with the building, not what he wants or what he thinks. Tells me that the measurements start from where he wants to start it? Come on. Is that fair? No. He's supposed to enforce town code, and he's not. And because he made the mistake, or maybe somebody of importance behind closed doors doesn't like the fence, is telling you people to do something about the fence. But there's nothing wrong with the fence. Nothing wrong with it at all. But for safety matters, 1,000% I support it. I'll move it. But your building inspector wants to just flex his muscle and take even more from our property. But the tree line that was originally there, that was fine. That was fine. Yeah, that's no problem. I put a fence up. Nope, can't see. So I'm going to stick around a little bit longer to see what nonsense you guys are going to talk about my fence.
Anybody else who would like to speak about any town-related item?
Good evening. My name is Ronaldo Pistolesi. I've been a resident in Fishkill for over 50 years. This gentleman back here, Eddie, who does the food drive, he touched my heart when he was talking about a 92-year-old woman with a can of soup, feeds her family. I lost my mom last June. She was 93. It really took a toll on me. She raised me to give because my mother was a giver. And this gentleman talking like that, I've seen him in here a lot of times looking for the town help. And it really touched my heart, the way he talked about a can of soup will feed a family and things like that. So I reached into my pocket, and I just want to, I've been wanting to give food to the food drive, but I just never had the time to do it. So I reached in my pocket and I grabbed $500, and I'm going to give this gentleman $500 for his.
Here, here. Joe, go get a picture. Go get a picture of that. This is very unique. Guys, nice.
It's $500.
Come here, come here.
Will feed a lot of families. Thank you.
Ronaldo.
You are
It wasn't planned.
I wasn't. I know. This is important. This is what community is about. Let's get a picture of him with Seal. That's not necessary. Yes, it is necessary. We want to see this. Yes. You may inspire them. Yes.
Is that good? Okay.
Councilwoman?
Oh, God, someone in my face. There we go. Louise Daniele, legal resident of Fishkill for over 30 years. As I tried to read the agenda packet and inform myself about what was on it, I was disappointed again, like I was a few months ago, by the lack of transparency with numerous discussion items that have no supporting documentation. I also see that you added a resolution for workers' comp policy. Why isn't it on the agenda? Why aren't the people having a chance to look at it before you pass it? It's non-transparent. Whether your assistant is on vacation or not, there should be someone else to make sure the agenda discussions are more than a mere sentence, as it is in numerous discussions on the agenda tonight. Discussion 3 and 4 about commencing legal proceedings and an easement on 9D Magnolia Drive. I thought Councilmember Rye was going to rectify that. No attachments, no documentation. Number 7, good cause eviction law. What is it? No documents. Number 8, discussion of the toll list rotation. Nothing. Number 9, discussion of selling the property at 81 Route 82. Nothing. Number 15, discussion about the weight limit signage on Merritt. Nothing. 19, discussion to hire a comptroller. No resume attached or background information. No salary listed. No start date. Although I see you came tonight. Welcome. You know, it's just nice to have that for people to see, but welcome. We hope you do a great job. Thank you. I appreciate that Jay attaches everything for his hires for the rec center, and Carmine as well for the highway department for new hires. The supervisor's office should do the same. Number 24, updating the snow ordinance. You list the ordinance, but you don't list what will change. Number 25, discussion of a left-hand turn at Firethorn Drive and State Route 9D. Why? It appears that all it takes is one person saying what they want, and something will change, and they get it. As in the case of many items that are on the agenda tonight, instead of considering if it really is necessary. Number 26, a police officer asked the board to donate an out-of-service police vehicle to the Ulster County DA's office. Why would we do that? Out-of-service vehicles should go to auction, and the money should be put back in the general fund or their budget line. Since taxpayers paid for those vehicles, we should not gift them to other agencies that aren't affiliated with our town. We shouldn't donate them to anyone. They should be auctioned. Number 28, discussion of the PBA contract. For anyone who complains that the supervisor doesn't support the police, you need to read the previous PBA contract and this one, because he pretty much gives them everything they want. Those are substantial raises and increases in other pay rates and steps. I'm not sure where we're getting all that money from, but they've gotten a really good PBA contract as far as I could see. But the PBA membership and the PBA membership unanimously all agreed to the contract and the terms. Those on the board should remember that the contract is for the police officers, not the lieutenants or the chief. They should also remember the supervisor decides who is involved in the negotiation, not the board members. That seems to be something that some board members just can't comprehend. I do see one thing missing from the contract. That's a line about any future person who attends a police academy should reimburse the town if they do not stay on the town PD. I don't agree with sending people to the academies on the taxpayer dime, but if the town decides to do it, they should make sure the town is reimbursed, unlike the last 2 times people were sent and did not stay with the PD and we were not reimbursed. Back to one final discussion that has no documentation attached. Discussion 11 to allow non-veterans on the Veterans Advisory Board. I went back and pulled up the resolution from our July 19, 2023 meeting, which states that the town board wishes to make the informal Veterans Affairs Committee into a formal Veterans Advisory Board pursuant to Chapter 6. Attached is a set of rules and regulations for the operation of the Veterans Advisory Board. The board here designates and recreates an informal Veterans Affairs Committee into a Veterans Advisory Board. They shall be governed and shall operate under the attached rules and regulation. The town board hereby designates Virgil Capillari as chairperson of the Veterans Advisory Board. When I went back to read the attached rules and regulations, which should be attached to the agenda packet, but I went actually back to the meeting online to read it from the meeting notes, it said there was no file converted to a viewable format. Nothing. So I couldn't pull it up and read it. It wasn't on the agenda packet. If you find the rules and regs that the board unanimously approved from July 19, 2023, then you should follow the rules, which establishes how anyone who wants to be considered needs to fill out a volunteer application, just as the planning and zoning board members do, and then the vote, and also the vote that Virgil had last year to appoint the people, that was before these rules were established. So technically, there is no Veterans Advisory Board, just Virgil appointed as a chairperson. If you shared those rules and read them, you would see he's supposed to report to the supervisor instead of being given continuous platforms through presentations during town board meetings. And if you want to change the rules because one person who is not a Fishkill veteran wants to be on the Veterans Advisory Board, you should find and follow the rules first before changing them and actually establish a Veterans Advisory Board per the rules that were agreed to in the resolution. You should also consider changing the name of the Veterans Advisory Board as well. If you're going to let anyone on the board, you should change it to the Non-Veterans Advisory Board and make a public notice so everyone in the town, whether they're a veteran or not, can submit an application, or better yet, just follow the current rules and don't change anything. My comments are not intended to look down upon any of the veterans who have helped this year with our continued Hometown Banner program or our continued Memorial Day or Veteran Day services. Their efforts are appreciated, just as I appreciate their service to our country. I would just appreciate it if the board actually followed the established rules. I have always been a policy person. If you don't want to follow the established rules, then go back to an informal committee. On a topic not on the agenda, since these meetings are only once a month for the next few months, and soon it will be time to begin the budget process, I would ask now that the council members do not give themselves another 25% raise. This was something Councilmember Foreman complained about before beginning on the board. He complained the pay wasn't high enough and he wanted taxpayers to pay for his insurance as well. If you have come to our town from East Fishkill for the pay, you shouldn't be here. Higher pay does not attract better people. As we can see in our town, I recently found out it attracts people who I believe lied about their legal residence on their original petitions filed with the Board of Elections in 2022 and got away with it, which is illegal. People like Councilmember Foreman, who continues to not provide a lease or canceled check to prove to legal residents that he actually legally resides in our town instead of East Fishkill. Telling us the names of your neighbors in a house you don't own, where you keep some clothes in a room, does not prove that you legally reside in our town. Yet, unfortunately, you continue to remain on our board. This, through a disgraceful criminal arrest of criminal possession of stolen property last fall, of a campaign sign with my air tag in it, and with a secret end result of special treatment that is not given to everyone, you received an ACD, adjourned in contemplation of dismissal in that case. You proved that privilege and political connections make criminal cases go away. You do not deserve any of our taxpayers' money, and you certainly do not deserve a raise. I actually believe that the supervisor position should be a higher salary than it is. A prior supervisor decided to cut the salary of the supervisor position on her way out the door. That should never have happened, and that should finally be rectified. Not for council members, though. In my opinion, they have not earned it. We shouldn't give more money because it may encourage some people to run again, when that would not be beneficial to our town, only to their self-needs and those of their friends, business partners, and insurance industry friends who continue to get contracts. On a positive note, I'd like to thank Carmine, our highway superintendent, for helping the residents of Dutchess Park who were hit the hardest during the storm that blasted through Fishkill over the weekend. And Doug Phillips Park is looking great, as well as Gearing Park. His continued efforts, as well as those of the men who work for him, are truly appreciated. I'll save my remarks regarding downstate debacle until after you discuss it. I hope you consider hiring Mr. Nugent, our prior town attorney, to assist with that matter, as he helped us make sure our zoning in that area was what the people wanted, not what our state government wants for us or has chosen the developers to do. Thank you.
Anybody else? Another councilwoman.
Yeah, we're all here today.
Hi.
Hi, Jackie Bardini, former town board member. You know, I stayed away and I only speak when I really feel very strongly about something. I had the dubious name, the quiet one, when I was on the board, although my mother would differ with that opinion. So I wanted to talk a little bit and very quickly about the PBA contract. I've read through it. I think it's fair for management, and I think it's fair for our police officers. We have a really good police force. We have retired lieutenants and sergeants and former police chiefs. You know, where can you get a part-time police department like that? And I think we should support it. When I sat in that seat, that vacant seat behind there, you know, I voted for a similar contract. And I think you all should support the men in blue and the women in blue and vote for this contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you again. Anybody else? Ms. Burka.
Jody Lynn Burka, resident of Fishkill, Glenham. I noticed that we're going to be talking about the tow list. I'm wondering why a legal Fishkill business, they're located in Fishkill, and they're owned by people who legally live in Fishkill, aren't on the list. I've done a little bit of research. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Gaba. We're allowed to have 6 people, 6 towers on the list. We currently have 4.
Up to 6.
We currently have 4.
I don't know how many.
Okay, I think we have 4. And if I misspeak, please correct me. I know they have to fill out an application, and I know they have to be certified, like, I use that word loosely quoted, they have to meet certain criteria to be on the list. How often does that happen once they're on the list to ensure compliance? Wait a second, I just lost my train here. Being on the list is a very great honor for these towers, and I understand that for many of them it's crucial for their business, because how else are they going to get work? And it is a means for them to make money. Towers should not be kept off the list because of bogus failures, personality discrepancies, or to prevent competition for the other towers that are on the list. If someone believes 4 is enough, well, 6 is better than 4. Whether there's 1 person on the list or 10 people on the list, there's no negative impact to anybody, and it does create a lot of enterprising with rates and everything else. Not even the person making the phone call can complain, because they're not going to make 10 phone calls, they're going to make 1 phone call, whether it's the person in the car or dispatch or however that gets facilitated to make the call. I think that that needs to be reconsidered, and I think when a Fishkill business who is working for other municipalities in our area is not on the list, I am wondering what is the problem? It doesn't make sense to me. I think that should really be considered. I really do. I think that the tow list, I get it, is a problem. It could probably become an even bigger problem, and obviously there's a lot of problems. I mean, look around, people. Everybody has a problem. These things aren't getting resolved. They just are getting worse and worse and worse. So hopefully you guys can look at this and do the right thing and get them on the tow list, whoever that person may be. I think competition is good. It's good for us, and we should be supporting people in Fishkill. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. We'll go to liaison member reports. We'll start with Greg.
Thank you. Let me begin by offering everyone a happy Independence Day tomorrow. Significant date always as we take time to celebrate the founding of our nation and the journey that we've been on for nearly 250 years. I know that we have some big plans coming up in a couple of years for America 250, which I'm looking forward to us really getting to work on as we get closer to that. It's been a month since we met, so a lot has taken place, one of which has already been referred to, the downstate debacle, as it was phrased, and I think that's a good term for it. The governor and Empire State Development have announced plans to install up to 1,300 units at the 88 approximately acre downstate property on Red Schoolhouse Road. That proposal to myself, and without speaking for everyone because I'm sure they'll want to weigh in, but to generalize, is not acceptable in its current form. There's a lot more to housing than simply having the space and the materials to build the units. You have to consider everything else that goes along with it, from the impact on traffic and road infrastructure, to children entering our schools, to demands on our water and sewer systems, to the necessity for police, emergency responders, fire, and other central services. When you have a property development that could potentially increase the population of the town by 15% in one shot, without any consideration made for any of those ancillary factors that I just named, it's never going to fly with me. I know it doesn't fly with Supervisor Albra. I know it doesn't fly with Councilman Foreman or Councilman Rye. And I'm just willing to pledge now that I will do everything in my power to ensure that the future development of downstate coincides as much with our town zoning and our town comprehensive plan as it is currently written, as this board is enabled to do. So I'd just like to begin by saying that. Speaking on other notable town functions, town events, etc., I want to give a big tip of the cap to our highway department. They have had some serious work to do over the last few days, particularly in the eastern part of town in Dutchess Park and on Route 82 in the vicinity of Lomela. Significant damage from the thunderstorms over the weekend, significant power outages. The crews were out there immediately. They were clearing dozens of large trees. They were dealing with downed power lines. There were a couple instances of trees falling into homes. They worked tirelessly to get the roads open and safe. They worked with Central Hudson to make it possible for their electrical engineers and linemen to get power restored as quickly as possible. They deserve a huge round of applause for that. And I tip my cap to Carmine, to Kevin, to the entire crew from Highway. And speaking more to our highway, our parks, that entire department, we were able to celebrate a couple weeks ago the first ever pickleball tournament at our new pickleball complex at the Doug Phillips Park on Route 52. It was great to be there. I was joined by all of the fellow council members here on the board. Just a great occasion to see people using our recreational spaces as we would hope that they would. That kind of enthusiasm and participation is what we want. When we invest in quality of life, people invest their time in those opportunities. So to see such immediate, reaping the rewards of that, which was a long time in coming, is really rewarding. And I hope that everyone who participated had a great time, and I'm looking forward to more events like that in the future. When it comes to recreation, obviously our rec director, Jay, Marianne, they were involved in organizing and hosting that tournament. They also organized the Rec Center 4th of July barbecue event for our seniors over at the Rec Center. I wasn't there, I was at work, but my mother was there and had a great time. And it's wonderful, now being in a position where my mother can go to these events, being able to hear about it from the experience of someone who is actually attending, just gives me even more appreciation for Jay, for Lauren, for Marianne, and everybody over at the rec department. So kudos to you on another excellent event. You never let us down. A couple weeks ago, I was joined by all of the council members for a couple of sign unveilings. As everyone knows, we are very, very interested in our history in Fishkill, both preserving and promoting it. And we did, about a year and a half ago, ask the state to dedicate some state roads in Fishkill to some Fishkill war heroes. It's something which Supervisor Albra and I did in 2020, working with the county to dedicate roads in honor of 3 Fishkill residents who were killed in Vietnam. This state road dedication honors Chief Daniel Nimham, who fought and died in the American Revolution. That is Route 52. Derek Brinkerhoff on Route 82, right in front of the Brinkerhoff School. And Route 9 in honor of Elijah Briggs. And of course, Route 9 passes by the Fishkill Rural Cemetery where Sergeant Briggs is interred. He has a remarkable story of military service in the Civil War, where he served in the 2nd Connecticut Heavy Artillery Regiment, which is, for anyone who has even a passing interest in history, a story that is both heroic and tragic in its service record. And I highly recommend that people learn about that unit and about Sergeant Briggs, who earned the Medal of Honor for his acts at Petersburg, which was one of the bloodiest and nastiest of all of the engagements of the Civil War. So to be able to join Assemblyman Bepan and Senator Rob Rollison, our state representatives in Albany, who were able to get this legislation through the state legislature to honor these war heroes, it's very meaningful for us to be able to do that and to join them to dedicate these signs, which our motorists will be able to pass by and appreciate every time that they're on these major roads in the town of Fishkill. One last thing I would like to, yes.
Yes, it's a big one.
Yes. One last thing I would like to mention, some developments over at the police department, which I think are excellent. A couple of years ago, Supervisor Albra, in the budget, included funds for a dedicated traffic enforcement officer. It's something which we've needed for a long time, and it was announced by Chief Dworkin in the past couple of weeks that we now have a designated traffic enforcement unit that has been created, a traffic enforcement officer who will be able to patrol our streets, making sure that traffic is obeying the laws, that it's going to be safe for motorists and pedestrians alike, and I think that's an excellent thing. I also want to congratulate Officer Kelly Aloisio, who was recently assigned to our community policing division. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big supporter of community policing. The idea that relationships between police and community should be tight-knit, that officers should be known amongst the people that they serve so that there is open communication, trust, and understanding between the community, the public at large, and our law enforcement officers is huge. So to see our community policing unit growing and expanding in the services that it provides, and there are a plethora of them. I'd name them, but I've been going on for more than 5 minutes anyway, so I recommend that you visit the Town of Fishkill PD website. You can see their community policing page and learn all about the programs that they offer. Some of them are great, whether you're a senior, whether you are just a resident, if you're new, living in town, learning about community policing is great. So congratulations to Officer Aloisio, and that's all I have.
Thank you. John?
Okay, thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Regarding the downstate proposal, I want to recognize Ozzy for jumping out in the lead on this issue. He has the full support from the entire town board. Thank you also to the Beacon City School District School Board of Education, who recently issued a letter to the governor sharing their concerns as well. I haven't spoken to one resident in Fishkill who thinks this development at this location is a good idea. A big shout out to Carmine and the Highway Department for their response to the weather we've had over the last week or so. You know, when we're home, safe in our house, they're out clearing roads for us. So thank you very much, Carmine, and your crew. A couple things. Over the last couple weeks, I have been involved in a couple of interviews for candidates for the controller position. I attended the pickleball courts grand opening on Wednesday, June the 12th at Doug Phillips Park. Monday, June 24th, the dedication of a couple of our roads in Fishkill for Chief Daniel Ninham and Corporal Derek Franklin Brinkerhoff. Thank you to Carmine, Senator Rollison, Assemblyman Beefan, the New York State DOT, our Veterans Committee, and the members of our town board for making that happen. And on June 27th, attended another successful, well-attended barbecue at the Rec Center for our seniors. Thank you to the Rec Director, Jason Mayetta, Marianne Von Egypt, their crew, our volunteers, and of course the seniors. Without the seniors, it doesn't work. And on June 30th, I attended the breakfast at Roundabout Fire District.
Thank you, John. Brian?
Yes, I have to, like everyone else, congratulate our highway department for really jumping on and taking care of the debris from the storm. It was just amazing how Dutchess Park and Lomela especially were just massively hit by that, and they spent days out there and were very, very dedicated in getting the roads cleared, and I just can't say enough about them. I think we all appreciate them. If we haven't appreciated them enough, then there's reasons even more to appreciate them from pickleball courts, because they're like just unbelievably beautiful. And we all were at the ribbon cutting for the opening of the pickleball court, and then we were at the first annual tournament. And yes, hats off to Recreation Department for handling that. It was just beautiful. It was a lot of fun. I did stop into the seniors' 4th of July party and enjoyed seeing all my fellow seniors. And I won't spend a lot of time on the road dedication, but I was there for Brinkerhoff and Nimham, and it was very, very special, and it's great that we in the town are taking care of our history. In addition, I do want to congratulate Kelly, Police Officer Kelly Aloisio, for becoming a community policing officer. I had the privilege. I've done a few ride-alongs, and I did with her, and she's just an exceptional, good cop. And I know she's worked in the DARE program and everything, and there's a lot of love out there for her and appreciation for her professionalism, and I'm one of them. And as far as the traffic cop, I'm glad to see that's there. I proposed that. And we did fund that, and it took a couple of years, and I'm glad to see that out there. I know that it is long last what we certainly need in this town, and that is all I have except for happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Thank you, Councilman. Next up is our presentation update from our Veterans Committee. Chairman Capillari. Bring all you guys up. His sign got messed up.
I'm bringing it back up.
His sign got messed up. His banner.
Oh, which one?
This one right here. Mr. Hallgard.
Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your banner got
Oh yeah, it's on,
in the storm.
It's on Route 82.
Yeah, it got the storm messed it up a little bit. We'll fix it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I figured it would.
All right, we're going to put you on notice, town board. That we all
Okay.
right. This is going to fix
I'll
this
be
stuff.
watching.
All right. First and foremost, we just want to say something on behalf of the committee here as a whole. We have been very pleased with the collaboration with the entire town board this year. Everything's just getting better. We cannot say just how thankful we were and pleased to see how Memorial Day really came out.
I can't think of crowds that large since well before COVID. So we're seeing people come back out, people are talking, and the Hometown Heroes ceremony and presentation was even better than we imagined. So I really want to give kudos where it's really due, because at the end of the day, we're trying to emphasize the positive and bring this town to light. This continues well beyond the road signs and other types of factors. We want to be able to bring this further collaboration leading up to Veterans Day. So if the town board's willing, let's kind of do something joint. What do you all say?
Sounds good.
Sounds good, but we really want to just kind of emphasize that. We've grown in attendees coming out. We're keeping the doors open for any Fishkill veteran who wants to come out. We have never barred any type of civilian or anybody who wants to be a factor of help. I know that in conversations with both the supervisor and with several board members throughout the past months, we're more than happy to take a look, discuss amongst ourselves. At the end of the day, we make recommendations. You all make the decisions. We just want to be a factor for help. You know, we want to be something that kind of force multiplies. I can tell you that I think secretly I work part-time for Joe because of how much we communicate in between, but we kind of want to lead the momentum. And part of the presentation today was just kind of put that out there, because I think a lot of times when these events happen, there's a lot of pigeonholed kind of issues going on, and it takes something like a sobering discussion or hearing from our friend Edwin Cologne to kind of remind us that people have it far worse off. But we're here to say that we're here to be a factor of help. We want to help. We want to welcome as many veterans to our growing meetings and gatherings. Chuck, Mark?
Yeah, well, I've been involved with the Veterans Committee since the very beginning.
Yes.
And I've seen us grow from 2 to 3 members up to 15, and then some. Sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less. But we have never, ever turned a veteran away. Like your previous opinion has said, we did not do that. We welcome all veterans. We encourage them to come out and join with us so we can come up with ideas. The more participation we have, the more ideas can be shared to help reach out to our fellow veterans and let them know there's a place for them to come where they can be heard and express their opinions. We're here for their support, not for the town, not for the politicians. We're here for the veterans only. I'm the co-chair. I'm probably the next targeted person on the list. All right?
Congratulations.
Go for it, you know. It's not going to roll off my back and don't bother me. I'm not into politics. I want nothing to do with politics. My sole concern is the veterans.
Thank you.
That's what we're involved in.
Hear, hear.
And that's what we're going to continue to do, regardless of what's been said.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks for coming, guys. All right. Lots of good things happening in the town of Fishkill. All right, next up is the discussion of establishing a town policy regarding downstate correctional facility property. You guys all read this thing?
I did. The question.
You want me to read it first and then we go through it, or you want to make your comments and then I read it?
Go for it.
Okay. Town of Fishkill downstate position paper draft. Number 1, the town of Fishkill is opposed to development of the downstate property by any not-for-profit agencies because it would take the property off the tax rolls. About a decade ago, a not-for-profit purchased about $50 million in real estate in the town, including a large apartment complex. The property was taken off the tax rolls and the town residents were forced to vacate after their leases expired. Residents of Fishkill saw an increase in their taxes due to this purchase. The town does not wish to have a repeat of these events. Number 2, the town believes that the downstate property is perfect location for commercial development, movie set, action park, or EMS center. Such use of the property would be an economic driver in the local economy and would be the best interest in the town. Number 3, if the proposed redevelopment of the downstate property is of mixed use, including residential, the town requests that a third of the residential development preference be given to Fishkill residents, then Dutchess County residents, and then New York State residents in that order. Number 4, if the proposed redevelopment of downstate is residential, the town prefers that 1/3 of the dwellings be devoted to senior over 55 housing, and 1/3 be devoted to workforce housing, including veteran housing, and the final third be devoted to affordable housing. If the number of housing units is large, the town favors requiring a larger number of senior over 55 housing units. The town of Fishkill is also facing infrastructure needs, which the state could provide assistance on through downstate redevelopment project, particularly, number one, the town requests the state build a new sewer pipeline on the road leading to downstate and Cherrywood. This would benefit the town and provide sewer for downstate. The pipeline would connect the Dutchess Park Sewer District to a state-of-the-art roundabout sewer plant, saving the taxpayers money. This also should coincide with road improvements. Number two, the town requests that the state expand the water lines in the area of downstate so downstate and its local residents could have clean, drinkable water. Three, the town requests that the state work with the Beacon City School District to prepare for an increase in students if residential redevelopment is being proposed. Four, currently there is no fire district for the downstate property. In order to provide fire protection, it will likely to be necessary to expand the fire district. If this occurs, funds for the project should be earmarked for adding a new or additional fire apparatus to any fire district. Five, regardless of whether downstate property is redeveloped commercially or residentially, or as a mix of the two, the redevelopment will pose a greater need for police service and EMS on the town. Accordingly, the town requests that the funds for the project should include contribution and/or additional equipment for both. So we did this about a month ago. I sent it out to the residents of Fishkill. We had about maybe 5 or 6 comments that were positive, and we added it to this draft. And this is where we're at. If we vote on this tonight, we're going to send this out to the governor. So, Brian, what are your comments?
Well, I mean, we all are drastically fearful of 1,300 residents there, right? So
Units, 3,500 residents.
yeah,
Yes.
units. You're right.
More than that.
So residents would be at least triple. But so in this number 4, it says if the number of housing units is large. I'm wondering if we could get more specific than is large. That's my only thing. Like, because large could be even more housing. Large could be, what is large?
I don't want to put that in there. That's what the definition of large is.
And perhaps we could go with language indicating.
I prefer 88 units on that site. That's
Me
what I
too.
prefer. But I don't, if we say something that if anything's over this amount, that's what they're going to start with.
Well,
Mr.
all right.
Gaba, kind of right, no?
No, I think the way that it's worded now is appropriate.
Is it?
Keep in mind, this is more a statement of the intent and the feeling of the community. It isn't a legal document that binds anyone. I would
Just
keep
leave it.
the language as it is.
Okay,
I think
all
you're
right.
best served that.
That's it.
John?
No, good job.
Greg, thank you.
I would say, personally, the only thing that I'd like to see in this that isn't in there is a statement of the fact that the parcel is currently zoned in its particular class, indicating the number of residential units that it could currently accommodate in keeping with our zoning code, and indicate that at this time the town board does not have an interest in rezoning the parcel.
This board is going to have to deal with that issue down the line. I don't think you want to make that your opening move as far as dealing with the governor and Empire State Development on this. I think you start with a rejection like this, and then you get into specifics and what options you have available to you as you move forward.
Thank you.
Okay, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, that'll be in consent.
That's very reasonable.
And we're keeping the public notified through our email system of any notifications. We got some news that'll be out on Friday too regarding this, a couple of news stories. All right, so next up will be discussion of resolution improvement agreement for the installation and maintenance of water and sewer lines with the Roundabout Fire District, Ocean State Job Lot of Fishkill LLC. Mr. Gaba and me and the crew have been doing this for about a year. We're ready to move on it?
Yeah, the agreement that you have before you merely says that when the water and sewer lines have been installed at no cost to the town, and they've been duly inspected, you will accept dedication of them. Because this is a contract, there won't be a separate offer of dedication. There won't be a separate vote on accepting dedication. What you will receive is a statement from CPL that the lines have been duly installed, that there's no issues with that. As far as the permanent easement that you're getting to maintain the lines, you are going to have, and it will be paid for by the fire district, title insurance, making sure that you have good title to the easement. The terms of the easement have already been vetted by CPL. It's more than adequate to allow the town to service the lines going forward. So that's the town's only involvement in this agreement, is when the lines are done and when they've been duly inspected and when the easement, which we have the terms of already, is ready for recording, you will accept all of those. But that's the only obligation you're undertaking. And as I'm sure Ozzy can tell you, this installation of the lines is important for completion of the town's infrastructure, at least as far as water goes. So it's really in the town's best interest to accept and enter into this agreement.
Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, that's in consent. Number 3 and 4 is about the fence litigation. I'm ready to move on that. Any questions? It's in consent. You guys good with it?
Yep.
Greg?
Yep.
Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. Move on to number 5. I'd like to table that to January. That's it. I'd like to table number 5 to January. You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Madam Clerk? Number 5 to January? Second meeting in January, in December then.
Yeah, and then we can, you got it.
Okay.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Moving 5 to when?
Second meeting of December.
Okay.
Number 6, discussion of Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health, use of the recreation center. Everybody okay with doing that?
Sure.
Waiving the fees?
Absolutely.
Okay. Joe, let's make sure we get the paperwork so they can waive the fees for them to use it. That's in discussion. Next up is discussion of good cause eviction law. Mr. Gabbard, do we have any update on that?
Yeah, the state in April, well, the governor in April, signed off on the good cause eviction law. The law itself is applicable to New York City. Any municipalities outside of New York City have to adopt local law opting into it. What the law does is it provides that for certain properties, the increases in rent can't be more than 10%. There are exceptions to that. If, for example, work was done on a property such that you could justify higher than a 10% increase, then a higher rate could be charged. But if a tenant defaults in paying their rent and the court finds that the increase was unreasonable, then the default for the tenant doesn't apply. They can avoid paying the additional amounts above the 10%. 10% is the presumptively reasonable amount. Anything above 10% is presumptively unreasonable, and if you wound up in court, there would be a fight over that. There is also a higher notification requirement if the town were to opt in to the good cause eviction state law. I'm only aware of 2 other municipalities in the state outside New York City, which had it binding on it to begin with, who have opted in. One is the City of Albany, the other is the City of Kingston. You should be aware that you have options when if you decide to enact a local law opting in, as far as applicability of the law to the town of Fishkill. You could, if you wanted, just opt in, and then the state laws provisions would apply wholesale in the town of Fishkill. But you can, if you want to, change provisions regarding exempt properties, for example, and
Why would we, what do you mean exempt properties?
well, it doesn't apply to every rental property. If you're a large rental property, for example, it isn't applicable at all.
What do you mean large? 1,000 homes, 1,000 apartments?
Well, you're allowed to define that. I believe under the state law, it's more than 10 units.
So any apartment complex with over 10 units, this law is not applicable to them?
If you opted out, yeah, that's right.
No, I'm sorry, if we opted in.
If you opted in, I'm sorry.
If we opted, if we go through all this paper, we have a couple of big apartment complexes. That's what I'm concerned about, with 500, 600, 700 units.
If you wanted to make sure that they were applicable, you would want to write that into your law. Just not adopt the state law.
So the state law is only for 10 units?
There are exemptions above, it says large, I believe it's 10 units. Don't hold me to that, but I think it's 10 units.
Could we do it up to 1,000?
Sure. But you're going to have to write your law differently than just opting in. You're going to have provisions for that.
Can you do that?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I can have for August, but I can.
No, it doesn't have to be for August. What else were your concerns? Because if it was less than 10, I'm not gonna bother doing it.
Those were the only concerns that I had as far as that goes. I mean, you may have landlords who feel differently about,
Well,
limiting
10% is a
them.
pretty big, if you're paying $2,000 a month in rent, $200 a month in rent, I think we're talking about downstate. The problem with downstate is when they say 20% is gonna be affordable, how is $2,000 a month affordable? This is not squaring with me.
Okay.
So,
But that's it. You
what do you
have to
think?
opt in, and the concern is if you want to differentiate yourself from what's in the state law. I'll tell you what, I'll put together a memo outlining for you the terms in state law. You decide what you like, what you don't like.
Make it 1,000 units.
Okay.
Okay?
I do think a memo is a good idea, just so that way we can understand all of the different provisions involved, but I also support the idea of being able to expand this to include our largest
There's no sense for 10 of them.
largest developments, so that it would be applicable there as well. Because I think when we're talking about the total number of units, the way that the market would be most affected would be by those larger developments. And so hamstringing smaller landlords, private homeowners or rental unit owners who are working independently as opposed to a property management company with a larger development that has a few hundred units, hamstringing the small guy while not applying that rule at all to the big guy makes no sense whatsoever from if the purpose is to keep housing affordable, then making housing affordable only in a few cases when a vast majority wouldn't apply under that law, there's no point in the
I
law.
wouldn't do it. All right, so let's table this to the first meeting of October. Mr. Galvin can send us the memo. The board members can review it, decide which way we should go with this.
Is there a time limit for us
No.
to opt in, or is this
No.
it's in perpetuity?
Perpetuity.
Cool.
Discussion to add tow boss to the town of Fishkill tow list. I like the way the tow list is right now and don't recommend doing it, but board members asked me to put it on the agenda.
So
Take it from there.
What we have here is, we have had a towing contractor who is a resident of Fishkill, who has a business in Fishkill, who would like to be included in the tow rotation. Our guidelines do suggest that we can go up to 6 towing contractors. I believe we have 4 as we speak. And he has been waiting a long time to get on the list. And I don't see the harm going from 4 to 5.
Well, John, I'm not in favor of making town residents wait for anything either. And I hate to borrow a line from Brian that he often asks Ozzy, but since this is particularly related to the police department, have you asked the chief what he thinks about this? Because the last that he said to us that I recall was that there was no operational need for this. That he had opposed the increase of the list from 2 to 4 on the grounds that 2 was enough. Have you confirmed with the chief that the department would be happy to expand this to 5 and have to deal with an additional contractor when they need to be able to coordinate things quickly?
Okay, so I don't have confirmation from the chief with the answer to your question. But I certainly can get that. Would that help you sway your feeling
It would
towards this?
certainly help me reach a decision, for sure.
Brian?
Well, then let's table it until,
I mean, he is here. I mean, I don't know if he can tell us. Matthew, have the police gone down to see your operation?
and for the record, I'm not against expanding it, and
No.
I've met with this gentleman too.
Thank you, town board members. My name is Matthew Menarche, owner of Tow Boss, 38 Route 9, Fishkill. Yes, I do have the current application that I was supposed to fill out with all my insurance information, tax. The chief sent their detectives down, and the detectives came down, looked at my facility, and said that I passed with flying colors. I have one of the nicest shops in Fishkill. I've invited you down, supervisor down. I know John's been down to my shop.
I remember helping you get the paperwork together a couple
Yeah.
years ago when we were doing this the
Yep,
first
and this
time.
is like the fourth one, and
Yeah.
I have everything here, and the reason why I needed this is for them to go down and inspect me. And he said that I passed with flying, there's no reason why I cannot be on this tow list.
No, we're not gonna have no discussion. Listen,
ju-
we had two when I first got here 5 years ago. People complained, we added two more for a total of four. Four seems to be working out. I don't know why we should table this, we should just kill it right now.
Well, there is no resolution attached to this.
No,
So just close it out.
What I would like to do is get confirmation from the chief to back up what you're saying, because I don't have any information in front of me. And if that information does come to be, meet our approvals, maybe we can put this on the agenda for a resolution for September or August. That's what I'm proposing.
I'd go along with that. I met with you too. I know you've got a legitimate business. You're here in Fishkill, and I feel your pain. I feel like you should be on, one more is not going to kill anything.
I just don't understand what the problem is, Supervisor. I really don't. I mean,
We went from 2 to 4, we doubled it.
Yeah.
For
but
20, 30 years, it was
You put two
people.
people on that aren't in the town of Fishkill.
That's not a requirement. The law is you can't listen.
I'm not trying to start an argument, but,
Let's take- what do
you
you
guys are
want to
for the town.
I want to put this on for a resolution for August to add tow boss, assuming we have the positive information from the chief.
Okay, that's your right. Get a second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll vote next month.
On a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up, discussion of sale of town property on Route 81, property 81, Route 82. Where I got this guy? Okay.
How large is this parcel again?
1 acre.
What's that?
Well, the part that you're gonna be selling is 1 acre.
1 acre.
Just over.
We're gonna split it. So we have a house that needs a lot of work, that was, the town has acquired maybe 20 years ago, and it's just sitting there not being used, and it needs a lot of work. We'd like to sell the house and use the money to pave and put drainage in Shepherd's Park. So that's the objective, and we want to put it up for a public vote this November. Is this ready to go for resolution tonight?
Yeah, I thought I prepared one.
It's ready. You guys okay with that?
Have you been in touch with Carmine?
Carmine's good, you went with
Okay.
Carmine, right?
We
So-
got the description of the area that's going over. What you're going to have to do, if the vote passes, is you're going to have to prepare a separate deed for this property. Now, you don't have to do that until after the election.
Okay.
But I mean, when you go to put it up for sale, you're going to need a surveyor's description and a separate document.
So this right now gets it to a vote.
And to the election, if the board
If it passes,
It'll be on
okay,
the
if we vote
ballot
yes
in
for it, and then it passes the election, then we have further paperwork to do.
Then you have further paperwork.
Understood.
I've got, I'm going to go back to what I said when we're selling this. I'd like a percentage of this to go towards that Bailey Sword project, help offset cost to taxpayers. And I think that since this is going to be found money, and I get the need for other infrastructure and everything else, but this is also going to be a permanent display, our gift to the nation, and it would be a great way to gather some added resources.
We're not going to be able to acquire that money until the 2025 budget is already completed, so it's not going to work.
Okay.
Everybody good with consent?
Yes.
Fine.
All right, next up is discussion of resolution authorized reimbursement of a resident from damage. We only had one problem in December, right before Christmas. We had a big water break up in Bickerhoff Water District. This one person had a problem that we were responsible for. It's about $2,000 in damage. I'd like to make a motion to put this in the consent. You guys okay with it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is discussion to allow now veterans into the Veterans Committee. Could we do like a clause to have like an associate member? This way we can take care of both the veterans and non-veterans. We call the non-veterans an associate. Verge, you think that's okay? An associate member.
We're fine with it. I mean, on the surface of itself, we just don't want to
You don't want to do
we
it at all?
put up a vote. We just wouldn't want to say no arbitrarily, but we also would like, in a perfect world, a request would be, if I think of someone like Carl Oken, Mr. Carl Oken, he's not just a non-veteran. He's someone that brings a wealth of experience supporting veteran service organizations, veterans initiatives. He's someone that kind of speaks the language.
Understand, Virgil, but if we get him in as an associate, he's still a member.
It's what
It's
to
only,
call
it's
them.
only, it's only one word. It's an associate member.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the difference between a partner and an associate at a law firm, they're still at the law firm.
Yeah. I mean, our discussions amongst the other members,
It won't matter.
they were fine. They were all in.
So how about we use the term associate member?
Perfect.
Okay, you guys okay with adding that?
Yeah.
All right.
So Joe, on that local law, let's just add associate member, and we'll have that for a resolution.
Thank you all for hearing and considering it. Much
Okay.
appreciated.
Okay.
So would you like this for the next meeting?
Well, we're gonna have to write a resolution for it, to update the local, update that rule.
That's a.
Is it a local law or is it just a?
I believe that the.
Who wrote it? Did you write it?
I believe it was a policy that was
Who wrote the
adopted by
policy?
resolution. If it was 2023, it must have been us.
We did it.
It was 2023. It was from June of last
Did
year.
you
wasn't a
write it?
law. I
We
think
wrote
it
it.
was by resolution.
We wrote it.
Yeah, that's all.
So we need a resolution amending the policy that was adopted.
Okay, so that's not something that needs a public hearing or anything, just a
No.
You
simple
can hold it if
resolution.
you wanted, but I mean.
No.
No. Not unless it's necessary.
All right, we got some,
So are we doing this for August, the first meeting in August?
we'll do the first meeting in September.
September, okay.
Yeah.
We got it.
Next up is discussion to accept the auditor's report for the Justice Court. It's an annual thing that we have to do. Same one as the second one, auditor for the town of Fishkill. Our finances are great. The auditor will be here later in the year to give us an update. You guys okay with 12 and 13?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, next up is 14,
Is that
discussion.
on consent?
Yep, consent. Number 14, discussion of resolution to establish 2024 townwide cleanup day. What day we have on there? September what?
14th,
What is it?
September 14th.
September 14th this year.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mauer Gearing. Yep.
Okay. All right, next up is discussion of placement of weight limit signage on the town portions of Merritt Boulevard. Highway Superintendent Estevan has a letter, a memo he'd like me to read.
He really covered all his bases. He asked me to read them too.
Oh, he asked you to read it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
I was going to say Superintendent Isfan is very thorough. I must commend him on that. This is a memo to the town board from Superintendent Isfan regarding the placement of weight limit signage on the town portion of Merritt Boulevard dated Monday. And it reads, tractor trailers primarily traveling to and from the East Fishkill Amazon facility have become an issue on Merritt Boulevard. I am looking at the possibility of posting signage on this road, either imposing a weight limit or prohibiting tractor trailers from traveling on this road, with the exception of local deliveries. I have reached out to David Hastings, a transportation engineer with CPL, for his advice and guidance on the matter. Mr. Hastings has provided the following insight to the issue, quote, I would think the best approach would be to post signs for no through trucks, R5-2B, with the auxiliary sign, except local deliveries, R5-2AP, below it. You could post that up at either end of Merritt Boulevard. The only tricky thing you have to deal with on posting the signs is that the Gap Distribution Center seems to manage all access from the western end of Merritt Boulevard. You could probably put the signage for no through trucks at the intersection with Route 9 and not inhibit the truck routes for Gap. Putting the signage at the eastern end of the road at the intersection with Route 52 wouldn't have any issues. End quote. Superintendent Isfan continues, to address Mr. Hastings' concerns regarding Gap truck activity, I would propose any signage be posted on the town portion of Merritt Boulevard east of the Gap distribution truck entrance. This would allow Gap trucks to continue to turn left onto Merritt, while prohibiting them from traveling on the town portion to the right. The Highway Department will continue to work with CPL on this issue when Mr. Hastings returns from vacation after July 18th. I propose that the town board have a discussion with the Fishkill Police Department with regards to enforcement of any signage placed in this area. It is my intention to have something prepared to present to the town board on the matter at the August 7th meeting. I will forward any drafted proposal to Town Attorney Steve Gaba for his review.
Here's my comment on that, which I agree that, the big trucks are a problem, et cetera, et cetera. If you put a sign there, and I'm a truck driver and I'm used to going this way, and I see the sign, I'm gonna keep going, oops, oh, what a bummer, you know, and try, and hope to just make it through. But what if we put below it, starting as of, let's say, August 1, just arbitrary date, violation, first penalty $250, $500 each time after that. Something that puts some teeth in it that really gets their attention and focus, because I think just a sign isn't quite going to do it for us unless you plant a cop down there, you know, during the work hours all the time. It's my thoughts.
We can add that if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, my only concern is with the recommendation that the signage should be placed past the gap entrance.
Sure.
On account of the fact that by the time any trucks that would be using Merritt for that purpose will reach there,
Right.
they'll have already driven half to 3/4 of a mile up Merritt Boulevard and will be unlikely to see the sign and say, okay, well, I guess I better turn back around again.
Well, this is
and
what-
so unless there was to be that type of
Yeah.
enforcement mechanism of some sort of vehicle on patrol there during business hours or really at any time of day based on the
Yeah.
type of traffic that deals with Amazon. It's unlikely that without an enforcement mechanism, a sign that was not placed right at the Merritt Boulevard Route 9 intersection would be heated further up the road.
So when you go past the gap, I'm sure we all know this, you go past the gap and just start around the corner, a sign says, you know, Town of Fishkill begins. I'm thinking just after that, and give a grace period of a couple of months, you know, once those signs go up, this enforcement process begins, you know, October 2024, something like that. But, you know, so people will get used to it when they're driving in that direction, but once, you know, they'll also see when this is gonna start happening, and then I just think that needs discussion. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, just let Carmine know, and he can include it in his resolution.
All right.
Next up is, I'm sorry, John, you want to say something? What did Carmine say?
He's for the August 7th meeting, so if we can
August
table
7th.
it till then.
All right, next up is a discussion of rezoning application for 14 Chorus. So this is to deal with the Hudson Fjord Trail. They purchased the Duchess Manor, and that's zone GB, and then there's a little raised ranch house that's next door to it. They want to combine the whole zoning into one to make it easier to maintain. Is that pretty much it, Mr. Yaba?
Well, that's it. With petitions for zoning changes, the town's practice has been to bill the costs directly to the applicant, just as though it were a planning board or a zoning board application. So the usual procedures, if you're willing to consider the zoning change, because you don't have to consider it at all if you don't want to, but if you're willing to direct them to post, usually $5,000 is what's set, an escrow to pay for your fees in regard to this. The other issue with this is that, and I'll reach out to them and make sure, but I'm pretty certain, this is part of the overall approval of the Fjord Trail. This is not a separate standalone project.
Yeah, it's part of the master plan.
Fjord Trail, as I understand it, is still in the process of undergoing secret review.
Okay.
I don't know if the DEC is the head, the lead agency on that or what, but the board, if you wished, you could draft local law, you could notice public hearing on it, you could hold a public hearing, you could close the public hearing, but you couldn't take action until secret review is done. So you might want to put this off until they complete secret review, or maybe you want to process it and then just put it on hold. That's up to the board.
So we can bring it to the town board at any time we want.
Oh, yeah.
So we can pass it and get to what we want it, and unless we vote for it, it doesn't pass anyway, right?
I don't understand.
Just because if we vote to put it in the consent agenda and say yes to it today, if it doesn't all go pass through, we can say no later.
This has to be adopted by local law.
Yeah, so tonight won't matter.
Tonight doesn't matter.
Okay. So
Is
might as
there
well
a
keep it in
resolution for
consent.
this?
I don't think so. No, this is
I
just
don't
on
think
Just discussion right now.
Okay.
All right, so can you call the?
I will, and then I'll get back to, is the board interested in entertaining this or not, or do you need more time to think about it?
I'm not up on it, you know.
It's just, like I said, the Duchess Manor, they bought the Duchess Manor and they bought this raised ranch.
Right.
They're gonna make the Duchess Manor into the visitor center, and they're gonna use the raised ranch as an office.
Okay.
And the Duchess Manor's GB, the house is residential. They want to combine everything into one GB for their comprehensive plan.
That sounds
It's
fine.
pretty simple as that.
Sounds fine.
Yeah,
We're not changing the zoning law
It's not
for,
on the tax rolls anyway, right?
no, the Duchess Manor is not, but the house is going to stay on the tax rolls.
All right, so I'll reach out to them if the board wishes. I'll prepare a resolution for August, setting the escrow and directing that a local law be prepared for the change, and then you can either go forward with the local law, or you can wait until secret review is done once you've had a chance to.
Could you make the law where it passes secret? Could you do that?
You
Contingent?
Secret review, but no, you cannot take action until secret is done.
10-4, okay. All right, thank you.
You can table August. August is fine.
Next up, number 17, discussion of resolution to reobligate Doug Phillips Park paving project for ARPA funds. So Carmine saved some money in one park and wants to use the ARPA money in another park. I think it's a great idea. Any questions?
No.
It's a great use of resources.
Yes, it
By
is.
all means.
Number 18, discussion of resolution to hire Tyler, Highway Department. Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Yes.
19, hire our new controller. Everybody okay with that?
We are.
Yes.
Yes. 20, hire summer recreation staff.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 21, discussion of resolution to rehire Thomas Keeley in Highway.
Yes.
Yes. 22, discussion of new performance appraisal process for non-union staff.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Did this come from HR?
Yes.
You did.
This came from the HR director.
Thank you.
Yep. Next up, 23, discussion of resolution to accept monetary donation for the police department. Number 20, everybody okay with that?
That was the lady that gave $100 because she loves the way their work, right?
Yes.
I think that was sweet.
Number 24, discussion of updating the law for snow ordinance. This is another Carmine memo.
I got it right here.
Let somebody else read it. You want to read it?
Sure. To Ozzy Albert, Town Supervisor, Fishkill Town Board members, from Carmine Istvan. Topic, discussion of updating the law for snow ordinance parking. Upon reviewing our snow ordinance, as well as those surrounding municipalities, I would like to explore possible changes to the Town of Fishkill ordinance regarding parking regulations during a winter weather event. I would like to have the chance to propose a more common sense ordinance that best serves the town and its residents. I ask that the board table this discussion in order to allow the Highway Department to continue to work on this issue. We have a working document that we will look to submit to the town board for discussion at their August 7th meeting. Any proposal will also be submitted to the town attorney, Steve Gabba, for his review.
Everybody okay with that?
So we're tabling.
Yes.
All right, so we'll table that to August 7th?
Steve, are you familiar with our present snow ordinance?
I am, and I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what it is Carmine wants to change on this. If he
I don't
has
either, I
something
guess.
that's ready for August, great. I have a feeling that it's not going to be ready for August at the end of the day, but
But
put
inside
it
the-
on, you can always put it over.
Yeah, I'd like to know what, more practical purposes is, or whatever he worded it, but that's fine. Certainly give him his due. But did I see inside this regulation now that there's like heavy fines and even arrest?
Nobody's going to
Did
get
I
arrested.
see that?
but We have penalty.
The current
provisions,
regulations.
Yeah. Well, when you need cars moved so that you can plow the roadways, you need cars moved so that you can plow the roadways, and if people think they're going to get a $15 parking ticket, they're not going to move
No,
their
the
cars.
fines are interesting, but I thought I read that they could be arrested, and I thought, oh my God,
Well,
that's.
it's kind of boilerplate as far as that goes. if you're
Oh,
gonna give
a
justice.
boilerplate arrest, okay.
Language as far as penalties goes, it's $500.
So we'll go to August 7th on this?
Actually,
Sure.
it's 15.
All right, next up is a left-hand turn on Firethorn. Councilman Rye, you can read that one.
Alrighty. To Ozzy Albro, Town Supervisor, and Fishkill Town Board members, from Carmine Itzvon, Highway Superintendent. Discussion of a left-hand turn at Firethorn Drive and Route 9D. We have a resident with some concerns regarding making turns on the junction of Firethorn Drive and Route 9D who wrote us as follows. I am a resident of Firethorn Drive, and for 22 years, cars have been making a left turn from Firethorn on Route 9D, crossing the yellow diagonal crosshatch. Recently, one of my neighbors received a ticket from doing this. Looking at Route 9D, all of the streets which have a crosshatch have an opening in the crosshatch, allowing cars to make a left turn into the street from Route 9D and turn left onto Route 9 from the street. An example of this is Hudson View just south of Firethorn. Firethorn has a 50-foot roadbed and was designed to permit a left turn. The development, as you know, was built after the crosshatch was to identify a section of Route 90 narrowing from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. After the development was built in the NYDOT should have reviewed this section of road and revised the lines with an opening to permit ingress and egress to Firethorn. Every week, at least 100 cars make a left turn from Firethorn Drive onto 9D and a left turn from 9D onto Firethorn. This includes town vehicles from both the police and highway departments as well as school buses, much appreciated. Carmine would then say, I agree with the above statement from the resident. As such, the Highway Department has reached out to the New York State DOT in order to address these concerns. I've included photos of the 2 locations referenced the Firethorn and 9D junction, as well as the example he uses of Hudson View Drive and Route 9D. To our knowledge, turns at Firethorn Drive and 9D have never come up as an issue, but with newly designated dedicated traffic enforcement officer, we want to get clarification from the state because he may be given tickets. We contracted Cassandra Bibbo with a local New York State DOT residency, and he was forwarded our concerns to the Traffic and Safety Department. Once a determination has been made with NYS DOT Traffic and Safety Department, they will either install signage indicating no left turn at the location, or they will adjust the cross hatches, thus allowing the legal left-hand turns. I'm asking the board to table the discussion until such guidance from the New York State DOT is received.
Did he put a date on it?
Did he put a date on it? No.
Okay.
Yes.
You did?
Yeah,
did?
July 1st.
For what?
Okay, I didn't mean that.
Oh, in terms
No,
of
the date
when,
of-
oh, no, he didn't put a date
of
on
the
how
email
long
is
he'd like
July
it tabled.
1.
No.
All right, so, first meeting in September. Next up, 26, discussion of donation of out-of-service police vehicle to Ulster County DA Investigative Unit. I had the Fishkill police officer ask about the vehicle out front that's not being used. They need some help in Ulster County DA Investigative Unit, so I decided to see if the town board is interested in donating this vehicle to the Ulster County DA Investigative Unit. It's just a proposal.
Understand. I mean, so that car has been there, and we know why it's been placed there. It just doesn't work at all, is it?
It needs a lot of front-end work, from what I understand.
So is it something that was going to be sold off and replaced and?
Well, not replaced with the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But, can we do this, give it to them for $1 or something like that?
Sure. It's because it's another governmental agency. You don't have an unconstitutional gift of funds issue. So if you want to, you can. Have you looked, and it's not strictly a legal issue, but have you looked into how much the car is worth?
I don't know, used cop car, beat up, $5 grand maybe?
$5 grand, okay.
What are your thoughts?
Well,
Yes or no?
What are your thoughts?
I want to do it. I wouldn't put it on there if I didn't want to do it.
Well, I mean, I'd go along with it if you feel like it's important for them and that agency really needs it.
That's what he's telling me.
Does this have, when we were saying out of service, has it been decommissioned by the department? It's officially no longer
It's not
for
being
use?
used. It's not being used.
Okay. Assuming that it's officially decommissioned from the department, I would be in favor of this.
Okay.
But normally, we would
Put it out to auction.
put it out for auction and
Yep.
get money and put it back in the budget.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why we'd give away $5,000.
Is this agency really strapped?
I talked to
The
the
county,
sergeant.
all the counties got money.
Yeah. I don't want to do a resolution if it's not going to pass. So I want to make sure we're committed to doing this or we don't do it.
How did you get approached for this? I'm just curious.
He approached me and asked me, he saw the car out there not being used. Told me he needed a lot of work on the underneath the carriage and et cetera. And, you know, in the spirit of helping our fellow law enforcement agencies out, I decided to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with John about, well, let's get the money out of it. If it were not going to another law enforcement agency that might benefit from it, assuming, of course, that they have an interest in it, in accepting it in its current condition, you know, all of the other, you know, we make no warranty as to its condition, all of the stuff that we would do when we were putting something out for auction if they were to accept it. I would make the exception in this case because it would be going to another law enforcement agency that might benefit from it. But I agree that otherwise I would not be in favor.
I'm kind of thinking it might be important to recapture the funds, ourselves, so.
It's okay to say no, no
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah.
All right, so just close this one out, Madam Clerk. Number 27, I'd like to table that to December, first meeting of December.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Number 28, discussion of PBA contract. This is my second PBA contract. I believe it's a fair contract. It helps the town, it helps the PBA. I think it does a lot for retention and recruitment, and I'm looking forward of voting yes for it today. Board members, any questions? Greg?
No, I've had a chance to take a look. I've reviewed it. There's an importance when it comes to supporting police that's beyond the public displays of support. The nuts and bolts of supporting police comes down to presenting them with favorable, supportive terms of employment that enable them to be effective in their careers, that supports recruitment and retention within a department, and that's good for morale. And looking at this, it checks all the boxes. And for that purpose, knowing that this was approved unanimously by the men and women of our police force, knowing that this was negotiated well, and that it takes care of our people in blue, I'm fully in support and look forward to voting yes.
Councilman Rye?
Well, I don't disagree with much of what you said, Greg. I mean, I certainly have favored in budgetary matters and in support in many regards our police, and we know our police are vital. And I just, we were presented with this. I've gone through this document, but I also have gone through a rather extensive email that we all received from our labor attorney, who communicated with you, Ozzy, on multiple times to try to hear what was going on and try to participate and try to be there for the town side, and never heard from you, etc. And so it just, this is a 4-year contract. It's maybe we're going to be around for this period of time. Who knows what's going to happen? The thing is, I think it's very close. I really, really do, and there's no issues on the money part. It's just I have a prepared statement for it because I haven't been in contract negotiations before, okay? And I have a fiduciary responsibility to look at this. And to get a document that is a 4-year contract, and in a week or two said we're going to vote on it, and then have our attorney raise multiple questions. So I just want to read my statement here, and I hope you'll understand that I'm very for getting this done, but there are questions that certainly need to be addressed. So on March 23 of 2024, I sent an email to the supervisor expressing that as a board member, I wish to be included in the negotiations of the PBA contract. I know it is the supervisor's right to have whomever he wants. I just expressed a desire to be involved. I was denied flatly being involved. Now in this extremely short order from PBA approval to now, we're suddenly expected to vote on a contract tonight that on a monetary level is well deserved. But on an oversight departmental managerial level, there are some issues. The supervisor is forcing this contract prematurely to a vote in the full knowledge that the town's interest in these negotiations were not provided in a balanced manner. There is no consultation with our town's labor attorney. It's been my ongoing effort since day one of my being elected to the town board to try to get to know all of our officers, indeed to get to know all of our employees in all departments. The town of Fishkill police force knows how I and all of us on the board reflect the dedication and appreciation our citizens have for our officers. We're all supportive of our PBA members in our police department. There's just no doubt about that. You know, when I think of our town of Fishkill Police Department, I think of all the men and women who give their professionalism to protect and serve our citizens, and I am grateful. I don't think our citizens are fully aware of how blessed we are that on our police department we may have, in addition to a chief, about 2 or 3 other past or present chiefs working for us. It's a lot of talent. Along with that expertise, we have many officers who have had years of expertise in other departments and some are fully retired from departments but want to keep working for our great town of Fishkill Police Department. We have a great deal of experience and talent in our force, and that is just fantastic. Again, all of us on this town board want our PD to be the best it can be. We want our community to be safe. We all are for a well-staffed, properly paid, and emotionally supported department. The citizens of the town of Fishkill love their police department. We love our police department, all officers, and all the civilian employees. During my tenure on the board, some really ludicrous remarks have been made about my meeting with police department personnel. You know, how can anyone be offended by those actions? From ride-alongs to conversations to meeting with command staff, I've enjoyed getting to know the entirety of the department and all of its personnel. Now turning to the contract. If it weren't for my occasional interactions with PBA President and Police Officer Pat Nesbitt, I would not have known about there being ongoing talks. And what I understood from him recently is that all through the months of negotiating, he kept the PBA attorney informed. Pat called me to inform me the PBA came out of these talks quite satisfied. I can see that. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and congratulations. But, well, conversely, over the course of the last 2 weeks, after the town's labor attorney finally got a copy of the agreement to review on behalf of the town, we learned that she was never involved or consulted during the talks. She did email the supervisor about 6 times to ask to be involved, but was never answered. Now we on the board have our town labor attorney's email.
That's a lie.
Why would you say something like that when it's
a lie.
When it's in an email to you and she's had this conversation?
It's a lie.
Why
Keep
would
going.
you say something so trivial and elementary? Would you just stop?
She
I'm in the
says-
middle of a statement. Do you
Go
mind?
on. Listen.
Do you mind?
Go ahead and
Do you mind?
Go ahead and play the violin. You vote against this contract. You don't back the blue. That's the bottom line, my friend. Period.
That is the game you're playing.
It's not the game you started.
Is no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it.
So
you didn't back the blue when you defunded the police either, my friend.
Thank you. You know, I'm going to recapture my ability to make comments here.
Calm down.
I'm calm, babe.
Yeah, babe, go on.
I promise you. Now, we on the board have our town attorney's email with her important comments on the contract. Still, there's no indications the supervisor has addressed her points. She is, after all, paid for by the citizens to ensure there is a proper balance to this new 4-year contract. Supervisor, when you finally made the document available to board members, you said it was coming up for a vote. Surprise, end of topic. I reached out to Greg Totino and said, this is a 4-year contract. It does not need to become a political football. Let's have Miss Julie Shaw, our labor attorney, and Ozzie discuss her concerns. You say you were reaching out to Ms. Shaw, and I hope you did. The PBA attorney has the PBA as a client and not the town. The town's labor attorney has the town of Fishkill as a client. There has been no equal representation on the final version.
Whoa,
Having
whoa,
a
whoa,
compromise
whoa. You're trying to
is
say
what
that I'm not working on
negotiations-
behalf of the citizens of the town of Fishkill?
Is what negotiations
You're just a liar, my
are
friend.
all about.
You're a liar.
Ms. Shaw has not had the opportunity to review
my
her
God.
concerns
I'm not working
face
for
to
that,
face
Fishkill.
with the board and how this document should have more of a balance when it comes to the critical areas of management of the department.
It's an outstanding contract.
As a town board member with a fiduciary responsibility to the entirety of the town and our citizens, I insist that discussions resume immediately so that the concerns of our labor attorney
are addressed with the PBA, and that a balanced and graceful conclusion can be made to this document, and that we can all vote on it to be passed at the August meeting. Board members need to be briefed along the way. The concerns are not about the money aspect of the contract. It is about the flexibility of management to manage. For our present and future, as I've read from our attorney, I'm supposed to ignore all that? That managerial aspect must be preserved. It's an organization's management. If an organization's management has ceded its privilege and rights to manage, then who is ultimately responsible for the organization? Supervisor, you owe it to the citizens and any future managerial staff to revisit this four-year contract. Our labor attorney needs to be involved. This contract is so close to being great, a new four-year contract. Let's make this balanced for our police and for our citizens.
Are you done?
I am done.
First of all, for 50 years, no member of the town board was involved in any PBA negotiations.
That's why I asked.
So this guy is nothing special, believe me. Second,
I asked. There's nothing wrong with asking.
Well, you know.
I'm okay with asking.
You asked last year, and I told you no.
I know.
Okay, and you can keep asking, but you're not
Sure.
the supervisor. You're a councilman.
I understand.
You need to understand that.
No, I got it.
You do not run the town of Fishkill.
I don't.
You don't. Let me tell you something, my friend. You don't even know how to run the town of Fishkill. And you got the balls to come here and tell me that I'm not working on behalf of the citizens of the town of Fishkill? Our number one problem here with the police department is retention and recruitment.
Absolutely.
Okay? I offered earlier this year to start to go to a full-time agency. You said no. Okay? And now you come here and say...
We don't want to go to... You really want to triple the budget? I mean, that's a whole different set of contracts and PBA issues. You're commingling. We're talking about a contract tonight. This is all we're talking about is a contract tonight, and we're talking about legitimate concerns our town attorney has brought up. I am not an expert. I have never been involved in these. I have to read these comments, and it's important that we bring them in consideration. It's stupid of me to sit up here and go, oh my God, let's ignore her and her expertise and years of doing this and just pass this. It's impossible once you have read that
Again,
email.
we have a problem with retention and recruitment.
I know.
He doesn't care.
Bull crap.
Listen, there's going to be a roll call vote in about 10 minutes, and we'll see how much you care.
No, you're just playing politics with it. You're playing politics with this. This is very unfortunate on your part. We're talking about a contract that's very close. We're talking about the money. It's perfectly fine. We're talking about our town attorney, our labor attorney, that's raised issues.
Let's get a couple of things straight here.
Let's get this straight with the town attorney. Joe is my secretary. Didn't I give her a 2-week notice to get back to me with a date, certain time? Did she respond to me on that date?
No, she did not.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Totino, go.
Yeah, let's get a couple of things clear here. I think it's easy to pin it all on concerns expressed by the labor attorney, but let's be honest here. These are concerns expressed by the chief of police. These aren't concerns expressed by the labor attorney. This is that the chief of police doesn't like that he's losing a little bit of unilateral authority within the department. When it comes to representing people, you're not representing the citizens of the town, you're not representing the officers who you are elected to oversee, you're representing your friend. Number two, important thing to...
What did you
I'm not done,
What did
Brian.
you just say? Did you just make an accusation about my friend? Are you out of your mind?
Just call him your friend.
Are you mine? Oh my God!
You just said he was
I
your
deal with
friend.
everybody in the police force.
No, you don't.
Obviously, when I go over to visit, I see whoever I see, it, police officers or the command staff.
Hey, listen,
That's
listen.
It's the same. It's the same if I go over the highway.
We all know.
And I speak to Carmine. So now he's just my friend, and I ignore all people in the highway department.
We all know.
That's what you're saying.
We all know that you like to have the cops with you for a photo op and to illegally use
I know
your
you
campaign
cheap that.
ads.
You cheapen that.
Okay, I'm cheaping you.
I know
You're
you
cheap.
would. I know
Okay?
you would.
No,
That's your
that's a
deal.
fact.
It's what you do. It's what you do.
No, Brian, again, how is it cheap to remind the public of things you have actually said and done?
And go ahead.
If it's cheap for us to say that you did it, then how cheap was it
What?
for you
What?
to
What?
do? I'm not done.
What are we talking about then? What are we talking about?
We're talking about you using the cops for your advantage, and when it's come times to support them, you're going to say no.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
No, that's
no,
very,
because when
incorrect.
when all is said and done,
Police
Brian, what's going to
should know.
matter to people isn't what you say or the photos that you take. What
Yeah.
matters is how you vote.
So the issue is that this is a very close contract and the money is fine.
It's close, but I
We
didn't,
have
it's very close.
some points here
Very
that need
close,
to be
but I didn't do my
addressed.
job, people. It's very close, but I didn't do my job. That's what he's saying.
But you don't evidently, from the email, know how to completely negotiate. Evidently, you don't have that expertise.
I don't have that expertise.
No, you don't.
Well, what are you talking about?
I'm
This is a
talking
great
about the memo
contract.
that's right here.
This is a great
you know.
contract. What specifically you don't like about the contract?
Listen, I'm asking
What
you.
do
I'm
you
asking
not like
you.
about the contract?
I'm asking you to have a conversation with our attorney
Listen, I'm not
and
changing
open that up.
anything. I am not changing anything on the PBA contract. I'm a pro-union guy. I know you don't. I know that might be an anathema to you, but I support.
I'm
the
a member
union.
of a union.
Yeah, you sure you are. If you remember,
I am.
If you remember the union, you'd be supporting union members. The contract is a simple contract. Simple. Good benefits for retention and recruitment. The key to this is I got something that the town wanted, that I negotiated for the town, to make sure there'd be no promotions unless we backfill with patrolmen. We're short 5-6 patrolmen right now. He could care less.
That's totally incorrect.
The chief every week sends an email.
That's totally
I need more
incorrect.
sergeants. I need more detectives. If there was a third vote to let that happen, there'd be 50 of them here at the next meeting. So I'm protecting the citizens of Fishkill by making sure that patrol cars are working the street exactly what the citizens of Fishkill
We all
want.
want that.
So you have no idea about negotiating anything, okay? And for you to here try to insult me, you're insane. You're just insane.
No.
And you're a freaking liar. You're a liar.
You love throwing that stuff out. That's your deal. That's how you roll.
I roll?
we've got.
How I roll?
So we have.
Who responded
We have
after the
an
deadline.
email from an attorney that, for all intents and purposes, you appreciate her expertise and professionalism up until this point when you excluded her from these contract discussions.
Again, she
You know,
was not excluded. She failed to reply to a request for her input, which, by the way, in subsequent communications has been acknowledged.
To read this email is also to know that she was out sick and she apologized for being late. And it wasn't 2 weeks.
Enough. Councilman, you finished him. Go to John.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to try and stay calm to the extent that I can. It just.
Okay.
Either a combination of willful ignorance or willful deception, it gets me, and I will keep my calm here. But to the members of our PBA in the back of the room, as someone who's worked in politics for a while now, one of the things that I'm used to hearing from people a lot is the words, "with all due respect," which is what you say when you're about to insult someone and don't want them to get mad at you for it. The little speech that you just heard from the gentleman at the end of the table was, "with all due respect." The insult will be the vote in about 10 minutes. He doesn't need you to get elected anymore. That happened last year.
That's such crap.
John Foreman.
That's absolute crap coming
Yes,
out of
it
your
is.
mouth
It's true.
right now, and I reject every freaking bit of
Reject
it.
what you want.
It's disgusting.
Councilman,
You
I've
can't
never-
have. I started off with a legitimate statement, and you start off with shouting lies like a little baby boy. It's so ridiculous. You can't have a conversation. This is a very serious thing.
Your statement
the
is a lie.
PBA and the police know that I'm 100% in support of them, and this is very close. I
Well, if you're
cannot
100% in support of them, I
I
look
can't
forward to
ignore
voting
this
yes on
email.
this contract.
I can't ignore this email. Pretend that you might.
Councilman Foreman, the floor is yours.
Okay. It is unfortunate the supervisor made the decision to move forward with negotiations of this contract without legal representation from our labor attorney and without inviting our police chief to participate in these discussions. The benefits for the PBA membership are significant, and some of the increases in this proposal include 4 years' worth of raises at 3.75, 3.75, 4, and 4. A new step in longevity from 4 steps to 5 steps. The majority of the holidays include double time, while 5 were time and a half. With this new contract, all holidays are now double time. Additional compensation for uniform costs. Increased funeral expense for a line of duty death from $15,000 to $50,000. I have no issues with the members of the PBA receiving any of these increases. They have and continue to do an outstanding job for our residents in Fishkill. After reading the language in the entire contract, we now know why the supervisor chose to keep the labor attorney, the police chief, and the members of this town board in the dark.
In what universe should the chief of police be involved in negotiating the contract for his subordinates?
It's just insane.
In what universe,
He
John?
has
It's
to
insane.
administer the contract. And the chiefs are involved in all PBA contracts.
Get out of here. He administers the PBA contract, he doesn't write the Go on, Councilman, the floor is yours. I'll respond after you're done.
The supervisor decided he was going to diminish the authority from the chief, and he didn't want anyone standing in his way. For example, how do you negotiate a total rewrite of scheduling without the input of the chief, who's in charge of scheduling? My guess is so the supervisor can blame the chief in the attempt to make him look incompetent, if and when there are issues regarding scheduling down the road. These changes give senior officers complete control over which shifts they will work and give senior officers more opportunity to file a grievance. I also took the time to sit down with the sergeant who administers the schedule for the town, along with Chief Dworkin and the PBA president. It was explained to me that seniority currently plays a factor in the creation of the schedule each month. The police departments I have personally been in contact with all operate with the chief/management in control of scheduling, not the PBA. I think the town board needs to consider the entire membership of the PBA and not just a select group who falls into the seniority category. Those officers who have put their time into this department are already being given consideration for their seniority and are now being financially rewarded with a newly created longevity step. But we can't have one shift full of senior officers and another shift full of inexperienced officers. It's not fair to the inexperienced officers, and it's really a disservice to the residents of Fishkill. The members of the town board gave the supervisor the authority to offer raises not to exceed 4%. There are concerns there may be hidden expenses in this agreement that weren't discussed and approved by this town board. I would like our controller to review the language in this proposal and make some type of determination how much the hidden costs are going to cost the taxpayers going forward. As a courtesy, the supervisor emailed the town labor attorney a copy of the new agreement. The town labor attorney sent back remarks that include: 1, I am highly concerned with a large number of provisions in the proposed PBA agreement. 2, almost all the Appendix B causes significant changes to the chief's authority and discretion in scheduling and could create a great challenge to create schedules, as well as the exponential increases in premium pay for holdovers.
John, I don't mean to interrupt you, but were those confidential emails?
Yes, they were.
You
It's
really
okay, you
shouldn't.
can keep going.
Well, if the board's willing to waive the privilege.
I'm not waiving anything.
Well,
You
then
can
you
just
really
keep- you
shouldn't
can just
be
keep going.
reading from those emails. I'm sorry.
It's fine. The town labor attorney is disappointed that the supervisor basically ignored her when she contacted him a half a dozen times to inquire about the status of bargaining. I suggest the supervisor contact the town labor attorney to amend the portions of this proposal that will negatively impact the ability of the police department to operate. I'm asking the town supervisor to meet with both the town labor attorney and the police chief. Neither one of them were included to participate in the previous negotiations. Until I am comfortable knowing the answers to the previously stated concerns, I cannot be a yes for this agreement.
Very good, Mr. Foreman. Another one that doesn't back the blue. Let's just go to your comments. This is not the chief of police contract, it's a PBA contract. And number 2, with seniority, this is a union shop. If you're you work for the post office, if you work as a correction officer, policeman, or fireman, seniority means something. Just because in the past it didn't mean anything here, doesn't mean that was right. I'm trying to make it right. And in return for that benefit, I got backfilling. But what that means is you can't promote a detective or a sergeant unless you got a patrolman, okay? We're short 5, 6 cops right now. It is a problem. A chief of police, a lieutenant, a sergeant, or detective, you can get one of those any time of the day. A patrolman is very hard to get. We had that problem earlier this year. I offered to start going to a full-time police department. They said no.
You didn't tell the taxpayers how much it was going to cost.
One a year, probably a 1% increase a year. What they do is do what these two guys here do. They do whatever the chief of police tells them what to do. Soon as they get on the town board.
Communicate with them, how would you know?
Let me speak.
Let me speak. You're including me in Bow.
Yeah.
You yelled all the way through mine.
Yeah. So first thing these guys did when they got on the town board, very important, they got rid of the civilian police commissioner because the chief of police didn't like the guy.
And they made themselves the police commissioner.
Yeah, and we ended up making ourselves the police commissioner, which was a waste of time. Number two.
Save the taxpayers $40,000 a year.
Yeah, you want to talk about saving taxpayers' monies.
Yeah.
What about talking about the lawsuits that the chief allowed happen and cost taxpayers money?
Lawsuits?
Like the Beers case.
You're talking about lawsuits?
Yes, let's talk about lawsuits.
I'm not talking about
Let's
lawsuits.
not talk about the
Yes,
lawsuits.
You don't want to talk about lawsuits.
You're going to lose that argument too.
Yeah, I don't think
want to talk
so.
about saving the taxpayers' money? How much of a raise did you give yourself last year, John?
It's okay. Let's go. Let's stick with this. Then what they did for 50 years in the town of Fishkill, the town board decided who would be a police lieutenant. The chief didn't like that. He wanted to promote his own lieutenants. These guys, like little seals on top of a dock, yes, whatever you want. There is no supervision in that police department. Now let's go to issues. He says he's going to create issues. There's already issues, guys. We have a detective lieutenant, a detective sergeant, an active detective sergeant supervising 4 case detectives. Oh, and heaven forbid you ask what's going on. Oh, I can't tell you. There's a reason. Okay, what's the follow-up? He doesn't tell you. So this thing about a contract, seniority matters. And it's all throughout the United States, except for here in the town of Fishkill, because these guys want to do whatever they're told to do.
In
That's the bottom
full-time
line.
police departments, I would totally agree with Ozzy.
Oh.
This is a part-time police department.
And
we could have been a full-time police department if you hadn't obstructed that earlier this
I don't
year.
know that we want to go to that. I don't know that
the funny thing is, Brian, you're saying,
not
oh,
there.
well, my objection with the contract isn't the cost, but all of a sudden, when we talk about having at least one full-time officer a year to
Ozzy.
supplement our part-time guys.
You know what?
By the way, we're not
There's
talking
no
about.
study
I guess
on
I'm
that.
done.
There's no study.
Let's put it on the ballot.
It's just like, oh,
Tell the taxpayers how much it's going to cost, and let the voters vote for it.
No, we're going to vote on it right
Okay?
now. We're going to vote on it
No,
right
I'm
now.
talking about
What?
full-time police
Oh, no,
department.
you already voted no. It's over with. It's
No,
done.
no.
It's
Let the
it's
taxpayers vote.
My friend, it's done. It's over. You voted no.
Okay.
It's done. You said no. Now, I just want to mention one thing. I don't know which one mentioned it, about let all the PBA members decide on this contract. From what I understand, let's say there's about 45 cops. 25 out of the 45 support the contract. When the former PBA president endorsed you, not even a majority voted to support you.
Who cares?
I care.
Who
Because
cares?
you mentioned it.
I didn't mention it.
Well, then he mentioned it.
I did not. You keep bringing it up.
No, you keep bringing it up.
It's your nightmare.
What's my nightmare?
You keep bringing that up.
What? I never brought it up
I
before.
never
What are you
asked
talking
them to
about?
endorse. They endorsed. I was happy to give it.
You were never endorsed, my friend. You lied about that, too. You're nothing but a liar, my friend.
oh my God,
A
you're so
liar.
pathetic.
All right.
You know, still, I love you, Ozzy.
I love you, too.
I do.
Like a stone
I
in
love
my
you.
shoe. All right.
And I only
Next up
receive that
is
in love.
Privilege
I
of the
will
floor.
say one thing before we'll start. You are not a trained labor negotiator.
Yeah, neither are you.
Yeah, but I didn't negotiate the contract.
This is a good, hey,
You
listen.
know what? Go ahead.
They're both saying we're almost there. It's a good contract.
I didn't say that.
You said it.
I did.
But I will tell you,
Hi,
You-
I thought that I heard privilege of the floor.
You did.
No, wait a
Are
second.
we, this
Wait a
is
second. Let him
exhausting,
finish.
like, come on.
we are negotiating a contract with the Teamsters, with the Highway Department. You're using the town labor attorney to do that.
That's a brand new.
Who cares? This is the brand new contract.
All right, privilege of the floor for agenda items only.
I mean,
Ms.
seriously,
LaDoy.
guys, like, you know, I have a pretty thick skin, and I'm pretty tough when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, this was really a little too much, even for me. Okay, so I just wanted to mention, you had spoken about downstate, and I appreciate that you all are working together on something. So I think that there are some concerns. I appreciate that the mention of workforce housing, veteran housing, that's introduced, but I'm just wondering, where did the comprehensive plan update go? Like, I hear all of this stuff, you know, when I was on the committee, two of you were on the committee. Greg, you were in attendance of many of those meetings.
I was on the
We did mention green initiatives, smarter buildings. I don't hear any of that in the letter that is introduced. So it is very concerning to me. It seems that we spent nearly 2 years working on this update, and you don't ever hear about it, ever. So that's something, and another very simple thing that could have been addressed and wasn't, is the discussion of the resolution to reobligate Doug Phillips Park paving project with the ARPA funds. Are you doing permeable surfaces or are you doing impermeable surfaces? Everybody is always talking about flooding and overdevelopment and all that kind of stuff. Myself, everybody up there has used those words. And yet, again, I'm not seeing any of the comprehensive plan update. We worked hard on that. I would like to feel that I did not waste 2 years coming to these meetings and working on the comprehensive plan with a host of other people from all walks of life. And we all were able to come together to talk about a broad range of issues, and one of them being smarter buildings, smarter development. So I personally, I think that, for this reobligate Doug Phillips Park paving, how about doing some permeable surfaces? You have ARPA funds, use them smartly. So that's the one thing, but also about the downstate, I feel like, so often those, the green initiatives are used as political, chess pieces. That kind of thing, it's very much on a national scale, all talk about green. Right here in our own community, we can work on these things. And I gotta say, honestly, I just don't see Fishkill really moving in the right direction. So that.
What do you mean not in the right direction? We can't control downstate until we get to it.
No.
What do you?
Let me go
referring to?
back to say it a third time. The permeable surfaces for the paving, for the park paving, maybe let's do some permeable surfaces instead of paving with impermeable surfaces. It's simple things like that. But in the downstate, you have a beautifully written letter, so don't tell me you can't do anything. You wrote a letter. Include in that letter smart buildings. You have affordable housing in there, workforce housing, and everybody here knows I am a huge proponent for workforce housing. Let's talk about some green initiatives in those buildings. So don't tell me you can't say anything, because I know that you can write a couple sentences in there about those concerns, and you can even segue yourself right back to the comprehensive plan that we worked for nearly 2 years on.
Isn't that usually like when a developer comes in front of the planning board? Jonathan, I've heard him several times refer to the comprehensive plan regarding A, B, or C.
Many times, yeah.
So, maybe something should be in there. I know that would make you feel better.
It would make me feel better.
But I don't think anything's going to happen in front of the planning board.
Right.
Without the comprehensive plan.
When that comes, I plan on the town board being lead agency.
I'd like that.
Yep. You guys
Okay.
agree with that?
And I also would like that type of language in the letter, but acting off of what Mr. Gabbis said earlier, it may be advisable for us to say a little less initially,
yes.
and then
Yeah.
come with our more stringent, specific demands as we get further into the process of communicating with the state, because as of now, there's really been none. There's certainly been no opportunity for us to provide input. So keeping it simple until it gets more complicated and more detail-oriented may be the most advisable course, according to what Mr. Gabbis said earlier.
Okay, well, I think that it wouldn't be that difficult to work in some sort of sentencing, including, hey, 1,300 units, and I understand you're not putting numbers.
There'll be public
I
hearings where you can
understand
come
that.
back up here.
Okay, so I'm going to say this. I wasn't going to bring it up yet because it's not on this agenda, but now you're bringing something up that leads to another concern that I have, which is on the planning board agenda for the 11th is another warehouse behind a warehouse. And I specifically said during the comprehensive plan update committees and the language that was used, I was very concerned with that specific site. And I said, we need to protect that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do this. And you assured me, oh no, they can't do anything because it's wetlands.
Well, there's considerable wetlands in there.
Ozzy, it's on the schedule for the 11th. So the way that things go, it would not surprise me, not one bit, if it went through. And that could have been prevented by putting stronger language in that comprehensive plan. I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm not getting into a pissing match like you guys did.
Well, thank you. Anybody else?
Renato Pistolesi, been in Fishkill for over 50 years. First off, everybody deep breath, and then go woosah, okay? It's gonna be okay, all right? Now, couple of questions, couple of concerns. Number one, this property that's gonna go up for auction at number 81, Route 82,
Yeah.
does anybody know if it's commercial property, being that it's on 82, number two, on 82, and two, do you know how much land it is?
It's 2 acres. We're going to split the land,
2 acres?
and we're going to split it to 1 acre.
So the house would have 1
1
acre?
acre
1
only.
acre is gonna go to the park?
Yeah.
We're going to do a lot line realignment on that, I think.
Okay.
And then sell the newly defined parcel.
Okay, and do you know if it's commercial, zone commercial, or because it's on 82, or?
I'm not sure. I can't. I don't
All I
know.
know is there's a house on it. So.
It's got a house on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
that
they
doesn't mean it couldn't be commercial, being that it's on 82. Okay.
What is your concern if it was commercial?
What was that?
Is there a concern that if it becomes commercial?
Well, no, not a concern that it would become commercial. I was just concerned if it was commercial, I would think about putting a structure up there.
Oh, okay.
You know, another garage.
Okay.
So, I mean, as you know, I've been in the towing business for over 40 years. So I was thinking about possibly.
So we already got a bidder.
Huh?
We already got a bidder.
Yeah, well,
Go
okay.
ahead and put it
All right. So, question number 2. You brought up about downstate, about housing and development and businesses, and you actually mentioned, Supervisor, you actually mentioned Action Park. We've spoke, and I told you that I sponsor 17 kids all over the country for bicycle racing. And we are a nationally ranked team, and I thought if the possibility could be to put a Olympic training center in there. And if it's something you can discuss, I can get the organization that's involved in Arizona to send down packets. They'll even fly in and talk to you about it, because it would bring substantial revenue to the town of Fishkill.
And that would be for, explain that again.
It would be an Olympic training center for BMX.
Yeah.
BMX bicycle racing, which I've been involved with for over 50 years. And I, like I said, I have a national ranked bicycle team. I sponsor 17 kids all over the country. So we would need a little bit of land to put this Olympic training center in. And like you said, if there's going to be housing and stuff in there, almost to my mind, it sounds like something that's at Rock Hill, South Carolina. There's all this housing, there's this empty property, and they put all this housing in, and it's beautiful. And they have an Olympic training center in there. And they have national events there. And when they have a national event on a weekend, it could bring $1 million into the town of Fishkill. Substantial revenue to the businesses in Fishkill. So it's, maybe something you could think about. Don't need a lot of property to do it, but maybe a couple of acres. The biggest part is parking, because people come in from all over the country to race these events. Okay, something to think about.
Renato, according to Dutchess County Parcel Access, it's zoned 210, single-family residential.
Okay, thank you very much, Greg. Okay, concern number 1, the discussion about putting a weight limit sign on Merritt. As you know, I've got a towing company, and response time is key. A lot of times I use Merritt to get from point A to point B when I'm called for the police tow. So if you put a weight limit sign, I can understand if you want to put it for like, big trucks, 80,000 pounds, 60,000 pounds, but for like a tow truck, getting from like say Route 9 to 52 or 52 to Route 9 to cut down on response time and, first responders, I think that should be something thought about, the amount of the weight limit sign.
I think our goal is to the semi-trucks, the tractor trailers, those big ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We want to stop those. We're not looking to stop a local business going through with their electrical company or anything like that.
Okay.
Or if you know a number, let me know and I'll tell Carmen what's a good number.
Okay.
It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be 20,000, it could be 40,000, we just don't know.
Right,
We don't want those big tractor trailers going through there.
Right, that's what I was,
Yeah.
that's what I figured, but I just want to make sure that the weight limit sign isn't like, 5 tons.
Yeah.
Maybe there's language to put in, and Kevin's back there working with Carmine, maybe there's language to put in also as an exclusion is a tow truck,
No,
Well,
the
it
weight
doesn't have to
limit.
say tow trucks, it just would be a certain weight.
Yeah.
If you said 5 tons, then
You're
our
a
tow
local
trucks can't come through
business.
there.
You're a local business, I'd hate to impede that, so.
The trucks that are going to be impacted, I've spoken with Carmine about this.
The big ones.
Unless you have a monstrously huge
No,
tow truck.
that's what
It's
that's
not
what I'm
gonna-
saying.
it's
If
not
it's
gonna be
a tractor trailer is usually 60 to 80,000 pounds.
I thought it was primarily tractor trailer.
That's the intent of what we're doing.
Okay.
Tractor trailers.
Okay, yeah, because I do a lot of towing in there for all the residents in there and stuff also. And then finally, the thought about adding, well, nobody mentioned, well, Tow Boss, the young lady here had spoke about putting other tow companies on there. She was obviously addressing her Tow Boss. She didn't say it, but that's who she's addressing. And Mr. Foreman, you've also speaked your piece about adding companies to the list. I don't know if you know, but I waited 20 years to get on this list. Literally 20 years. There were 2 companies on the tow list, and the administration came in. They looked at it. They're like, 2 companies, town of Fishkill. You know what? Let's have up to 6 companies. And Tow Boss put his application in, like he stood here and said that he had his application, and they inspected him. Yeah, they inspected him 2 years ago. He's part of the waiting list, like I was for 20 years. I finally got on 2 years ago. Now we have 4 companies on the list. At that time, he had put an application in. They only accepted 2, and me and another company got on the list. I don't see the reason to add another company to the list when you have something that's working perfectly. You got 4 companies basically controlling the town of Fishkill. And we've got several officers back there right now. They all seen me at accident scenes, or my son or somebody else, one of my guys, something like that. I don't think neither one of them would say that the list that they have in place right now is out of order, or it has problems, or whatever. The way it works is if somebody screws up, obviously they got to get off, and you bring somebody in, which would be the next person in line. I don't know if you've done any research on Tow Boss and looked at his, maybe even just pull your phone out and look at his reviews, things like that. My opinion, it would be more of a problem for the town of Fishkill to put a company on like that, simply because of his results and the things that he's done and tactics, and he's been thrown off multiple police lists prior, suspended and things like that. You don't get suspended and thrown off lists because you're doing the right thing. If you want to consider that, I want you to take that all into consideration when you make this, when you talk about it in August.
Yeah, as I said, I was going to wait to hear the comments from the police department
Okay.
regarding tow boss.
Right.
Before this goes on the agenda for August.
Right, okay.
And if they're negative, then we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But if they're positive, we're going to deal with that.
Yeah, I just don't, you have 4 companies on there for over 20 years, you had 2.
I know. And to be honest with you, a couple years ago, there was a firm that got sold in Beacon.
Yeah, I agree.
And another firm bought out that firm, and they got automatically put on.
Right.
I don't know how that happened.
Well,
but,
I can tell you how that happened. The way it happened was because in your contract, it didn't state, like the town of Poughkeepsie does, if you, and maybe this is something you can consider, but it doesn't state in the contract, if a company decides to sell their business, they're part of a tow rotation list, okay? That's part of what they're on a total rotation list. So this company decided to sell its business, so that rotation went with the business, and because your contract doesn't say that they have to be re-interviewed or.
And that may be all correct.
It is
But
correct.
as you said, we can go up to 6 contractors. No
What's
matter,
that?
we can go up to 6 contractors.
No, you can go up to 6.
Right.
If needed. If needed. That's, if needed. So.
Thank you,
that's
sir.
That's it. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for your
Ladies.
generosity.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Good evening. Some of that was hard to listen to, I gotta be honest with you. We do appreciate, one of the things that I love about, and I think the membership as a whole, is what a wonderful town we have here. And we saw a little bit of that today with some hugs back here and in the food pantry. My name's Patrick Nesbitt. I'm the now PBA president of the Town of Fishkill PBA, and I regret that the audience here had to hear some of that stuff. Mr. Supervisor, I appreciate the work that you did with us. You were tough. I think that you understood where we were coming from. We understood where you were coming from. It can't be easy in these times. You can't give away the farm. We understand that, and I think we both understood each other at the beginning of that, how that went. That said, I trust that we'll get where we need to get. We want a unanimous board. We really do. We have a very talented police department. That's been mentioned. Many of our members are retired and or doing 2 jobs. A great number of our members have retired from other departments, and many of us have held rank in that. We came to Fishkill because you still gotta work even after retirement. And this is one of the best departments that you can do that at. It's tough recruiting police officers right now, but the town of Fishkill does, and I appreciate you all working together to continue to help us not only bring in new guys, but to keep them. But I trust that you guys will, we'll have more discussion about this, and we look forward to working with you. Yeah. Sergeant Murtaugh, anything?
I just wanted to say, to be clear, after hearing things going back and forth, between President Nesbitt and I, just standing up here, you're looking at over 50 years of police experience with negotiations from NYPD all the way down to tiny little villages. A negotiation is done between the police department, the PBA, and the negotiating body for the municipality. The chief is not a third party in any negotiation that I have seen, from the largest department in New York State down to a small village department of 30 guys. I don't want it to be construed that we somehow intended to do something, that was not above board. What we did was completely above board. It was within what the parameters set forth by the town of Fishkill, and consistent with every negotiation I've been a part of. And you're talking a department of 30,000 and a department of 30. So if you guys have been led differently or told differently, it's just not true.
No, the criticism has nothing to do with the PBA.
Okay.
Criticism is the process, not on your end.
Okay.
I said that to you, Pat, too.
Pat, while you're here,
What's that?
while you're standing in front of us,
Certainly.
can you tell the town board and everybody that's watching where the morale is in the Fishkill Police Department? Because I hear from one side that morale's dead. Everybody hates it there. And I don't hear that from other people. I want to hear it from you,
Okay.
President.
Well, listen, some of that is personality from different people. You know me, we've known each other a long time. I'm not a negative guy. I love this job, and I can tell you that 95% of our department loves the job. Everybody kind of, the 95, that different 5% could be a bunch of things. But yeah, I think that policing the town of Fishkill is a pleasure. And I think majority of our officers feel that way. And I hope I hope that the people of Fishkill see that and how we do this.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Excellent.
Anything else?
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sarge.
We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last call. Anybody else?
Louise Daniele, legal resident of Fishkill for over 30 years. I think it's a little bit ironic that Councilmember Foreman just said it's about process, when you obviously don't understand the process.
Okay.
The process is the chief is not involved, and it's a shame because you can't see clearly because the two of you are so
How about our
enamored-
labor attorney?
I'm talking.
I know you are.
When I'm done, you can speak. Yeah, thank
Okay.
you. I thought we got over that when I was on the board. Yeah. So you two are so enamored with the chief that you can't understand. It's about the PBA. It's about the police officers. If you vote no to this, you're going to screw up everything. We have a new comptroller here who will then have to calculate how much money is going to be given to the officer if they leave, if they're here. And you could put some of these police officers' jobs in jeopardy because if they work too much and then at the end of the year, now they have to have more money given to them, that screws up their retirements. So guess what? Our attrition, you're not going to have people stay. They're going to be like, why would I stay here? You don't understand what the process is.
Okay.
So, yeah, not done yet still. So that's part of what I said. And I think Councilmember Rai said flexibility about management to manage, again, AKA the chief. And it's not about the chief, it's about what's good for the police officers and what's good for the town. And I think, like I said, Ozzy, he gives them a lot of stuff. Like the first PBA contract, I didn't agree with all of that, but he negotiated back and forth. I would have probably said no to a couple things, but I'm not the supervisor. I think that Councilmember Wright has a problem understanding he's not the supervisor.
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm not done yet. Thank
Yeah,
you for
that's okay.
interrupting
You're
again.
addressing me, but I'm
I'm not
gonna
done,
speak
Brian.
up.
I'm not going to yell.
But
Brian,
you're
really
addressing
take
me.
a lesson on being
And I
professional
know
and
that I'm
stop
not the
talking
supervisor.
over me. We
I
can
said
do
I'm
this
not
again.
talking
but
under you.
Brian, go ahead. Tell me when you're done.
But this is incorrect, and I won't sit here and have that kind of accusation made. Just because I engage the chief and everybody in the department, all of a sudden there's this enamored with the chief thing. It's just so ridiculous.
Okay.
It's juvenile.
Now I'm speaking. I gave you the opportunity to speak, even though you're speaking over me again, as you've always done while I was on the board, as you did tonight to the supervisor. That was absurd what you guys just did. But this is not the first time I've told you that you're enamored with the chief, and you know that because you got so angry when I told you the first time. It was crazy. So, and I think the other board members that were there remember that. So what needs to be done is you guys need to realize that you have to make this agreement work. If you don't, it's going to be worse for the police officers. But you don't seem to care about that. All you seem to care about is doing what the chief wants you to do.
Exactly.
And that is a problem. And that's a problem not only for the police officers, it's a problem for the town because we're going to lose more officers. But hey, you want to keep doing what you're doing? It's sad. We're going to have to maybe wait until January for another person to be on the board to do the right thing. Then we have to have the new comptroller figure out every single dollar that's owed back, and we'll probably lose a few police officers in the mix of that. But yeah, I wish I had the woman here that was from the church who came and spoke previously because she would have quieted you all down and told you to be a little more professional because what you guys did tonight was just insane and shouldn't happen again. Like, get control of the meetings. I know you try to, Supervisor. I know it's hard when people continue to talk over you, but please try and get it together in the future, because that was ridiculous and should not happen. For myself, I just want to go back to the Veterans Committee, because when the veteran was up here talking, he was saying, I'm probably the next targeted person on the list. I'm not targeting anybody. We've never turned away a veteran. We welcome veterans to the committee. They're missing the point. They don't understand when I'm talking about process on that one as well. We don't technically have a Veterans Advisory Committee because they did not follow the rules. So now you're telling me you're going to change the rules when they weren't even followed. I tried to have a conversation with Chuck out in the hallway. I was blocked by Virgil, who didn't want me to talk to him, who is another story. But I got out of Chuck that they only want people with veterans experience, and that you guys said only Oaken. Why? Why do you have to be selective and not selective? You're only letting that one person on. If you want to make it so that you have an association that are not veterans, open it up to the town. They told me we don't want people who are family members of veterans because it becomes political. You know what's political? Virgil's political. Brian's political. Brian and Virgil together created this, so there's a platform, and it's not right. So if you want to have the best interests of the veterans in mind, follow the rules. And don't just add one person. If you're going to open it up to other people, they don't get to decide it. That's the point. They went from a large committee to an advisory board with a head person who wants to control everything. And again, like you said, be in some photo ops, come back, run for a seat, lose a seat, run for another seat, maybe run next year. That's the politicalness of it that shouldn't happen. It's about the veterans. And I didn't say anything negative about them, and I really did not appreciate the targeted person response and the chuckle from the board after that, implying that what I said was what they said, because it wasn't. So I hope that you don't pass it the way you said, because you don't even have an advisory committee as it is. Did I miss a thing? I was out in the hallway talking to them about giving people performance evaluations. Did you talk about that?
Yeah, it's going to pass.
You're passing it?
The HR director put it, yeah, we have it.
Okay, I missed that. I was in the hallway. So my question to you on that is, what is the point? Like, where is that going? Where's the policy on that? I know that Kenya and I, when we were on the board, we wanted that to go, like, coincide with actually meaning something. So you have a performance evaluation, you're not in a union, so does that mean if you get a good performance evaluation, you'll get an extra $1 on your salary or not? This town has never had any consistency with salaries. Well, taken $400,000 you guys gave when it wasn't budget time. You just gave raises, you gave bonuses to people in one department. Some people get dollar per hour raises, other people get percentages. So what's the point of this evaluation when it's not attached to something that will show you what will happen if you do well or you don't do well, or what happens if the department head doesn't do anything, he just says he's not going to do it. So I think you need to tie that up a little bit more before you actually say yes to it, otherwise it's going to mean nothing. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question since you addressed me?
Sure.
So, in your professional opinion, do you think the labor attorney should have been invited to these negotiations, representing the town?
I don't know, but you started to read the confidential emails, so I can't really answer that unless I...
Well, you can offer me your opinion.
I would have to read the rest of what happened, because I don't know what happened. It sounds like there's two sides to what happened, so I need to know the whole story before I answer that. But I can tell you, I didn't care for the labor attorney personally. I liked our prior labor attorney. It has nothing to do with it, but it sounds like you got to a place and you guys just didn't like the place because you weren't involved in it again.
The labor attorney was given 2 weeks to review it. She responded after the deadline date.
But Ozzy, she wasn't invited to participate to represent the town.
Okay, so you guys are doing it again.
That's it.
Yeah, so, John, you said you said this has nothing to do with money. So if it doesn't have anything to do with money, you were complaining. You complained about the raises that they're getting.
I didn't complain. You did. At all. You didn't I didn't complain.
Yep. Oh, they're going to get this much. Now it's going to be double time. Now it's going to be that. It didn't sound like you were excited about it.
I listed it.
Yeah.
I didn't complain.
Well, the way that you speak, it sounds like you complain.
Well, you should listen to what I have to say.
I do listen to what you say, trust me, and it sounds like complaining. And I'm sure that the cop sitting in the back of the room thought you were complaining too, because they actually said, Why is he talking about the money if he said he didn't, that wasn't the issue?
Exactly.
So tie it all together, because it's gonna cost this town a lot more money because you guys wanna just, do whatever the chief wants. Think about the town.
Chief's
I'm just going to repeat one sentence. I have no issues with the members of the PBA receiving any of these increases. Made it really nice and clear for everybody.
Mr. Saddleback.
On a little bit of a different note, I'd like to come up here and voice my support for the opting in of good cause eviction law. I think that this is a very common sense law that I would love to see Fishkill opt into and even expand on. Thank you so much for listening to my opinion.
Thank you, Adam.
Young kids can't afford an apartment around here, and he lives in town.
No, I'm well aware that you should see.
I got 4 young kids, a 22-year-old daughter, a 20-year-old. She just graduated New Paltz. She makes 45 grand a year. She can't afford an apartment.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to live here.
Yes, and I want to keep you here, especially in the Eagle Scout. Believe me. Anybody else? Last call. That's it? All right. Next up, resolutions, consent agenda, presented as motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
On to resolutions. Town Board of the Town of Fishkill, July 3rd, 2024, resolution authorizing supervisor to execute MOA between Town of Fishkill PBA in final form. Resolution 9427, whereas the Town of Fishkill, Town, and the Fishkill PBA are parties to a memorandum of agreement, and whereas pursuant to memorandum of agreement executed by the parties on June of 2024, the new MOA terms were agreed to for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027. Now therefore be resolved by the Town Board as follows. Section 1, the above whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute the MOA between the Town and Fishkill Police Fraternity in the form presented to the Town Board. Section 3, the Town Supervisor and any official employee or consultant as directed by the Town Supervisor is hereby authorized to take any and all actions necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution and to give effect of the terms of the MOA. Section 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. I'll present this a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Pursuant to the concerns expressed by the town attorney, labor attorney, I'm very concerned with a few areas, nothing to do with money, and I'm just going to have to abstain at this time.
Okay.
No.
I'm proud to vote yes.
Yes. Motion fails. Thank you, Councilman. Next up is items for special consideration. Donation. Resolution to accept the monetary donation for the police department. Therefore, be resolved, the town board does hereby take a donation amount of $275 from Mr. Red Newt. Red Newt Racing is utilized in the town of police department in this direction. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Fishkill appreciates and wishes to thank Red Newt Racing for their donation to the town of Fishkill Police Department. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Next up, resolution to authorize renewal of the workers' compensation policy. I apologize. I was trying to get a better rate, so I asked John to back off on this. So I take responsibility for this being late on the agenda. Resolution ID 9452, be it resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby authorize the renewal of the town workers' compensation and employee liability insurance with the public with PERMA for the coverage period July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 at a total compensation and New York State assessment amount of $85,049. And be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby appoints Emery and Webb 989 Main Street, Fishkill, New York as the broker of record for the workers' compensation insurance. I present that as motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
May I ask for discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I intend to vote yes on this, as
Okay.
it's important that we have, this type of insurance. It's a necessity. But since a motion just failed on account of concerns about process, I'd like to raise, again, some questions about the process by which the town engaged Emery and Webb to be our broker for our insurance policy in the first place, and ask what attorneys were involved, how the town supervisor was involved, and if any of the concerns which prevented the good councilman from voting in favor of the PBA would not apply to this when it was adopted last year, or if tonight's performance was just that.
All right.
I don't understand the question. I don't even get what you just
I
said.
presented his motion. Can I have a second?
All right, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
New and old business, Greg?
I'd just like to tell the members, all of them, of the Town of Fishkill PBA that I deeply regret the extraordinary inconvenience that you were being put through on account of special interests. I thought this was an excellent agreement. It was a privilege to vote for it. I would like to vote for it again, and I will not personally support any changes to it. So, with that, I just wish everyone a very happy and safe 4th of July. I'd like to remind people, if you're going to engage in pyrotechnics, maybe don't. It's never a wise decision. It's never safe. We need to think about safety for kids, for adults, for pets, and obviously we're going to be going a month without meeting again. We'll be meeting in August, so just hope that everyone, families with kids off for the summer, have safe and happy summer time. Wish the best of luck to our new hires at the Recreation Summer Camp, and I hope that our campers have an excellent time over there with that. And as always, go Mets.
There you go. They winning?
They lost tonight.
John?
3 things. There is a reading of the Declaration of Independence tomorrow morning in the village. Do we know what time?
11.
What time?
11?
11.
There is a parade in Beacon on Saturday, July 13th. It's for the Elks Club 100th anniversary. And I think we're having National Night Out again on Tuesday, August 6th, the night before our August meeting. We're not meeting before that, so I'm sure we'll get it emailed out for that.
Yeah. If you want to do the Elks Club thing, so get it to Joe.
Okay.
I'll put those out together with that other one. Brian?
Okay. I guess there's no real new business. I just want everybody to have a happy 4th. I do look forward to a conversation on concerns raised by the town attorneys, labor attorneys, so we can understand better in her perspective and work through this. I've got no issues other than having those things considered and in a thoughtful manner. And I respect Ozzy, and I respect Greg, and we get heated, but we agree on so much, and we are all for our police, our PBA, and we are all for this town. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Our next, I'm sorry.
Go into executive session?
Yeah, real quick.
Okay.
Be up to Gab, how long, Mr. Gab, how long we're going to be in there. Okay, I have nothing else. Our next town board meeting is August 7th. Have a happy and safe 4th. What? That was my next thing. So the next town board meeting is August 7th. Have a happy 4th. Just be safe out there. Next thing is we are going to go into executive session. We're going to talk about possible litigation. You heard part of it tonight. And we'll be taking no votes, so that'll be it. So good night. I'll make a motion to leave the regular course of business and go into executive session. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for watching. God bless America.
God bless America.